Good afternoon, YouTube world. How is everyone doing today?
What's going on, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, or where?
You still say Twitter. It's X.
Same thing.
I know.
Wherever the hell you're watching. I know.
Everybody still calls them tweets, so we're good.
Old tweets. What's up, everybody? I'm Anthony Greeno with Marv. We're live on both channels, and we are here to talk to you about the Supreme Court in Indiana and the Delphi murders case involving Richard Allen. So, Marv, what's going on in the case now?
We just can't. I mean, it seems like every few days something's dropping with this
in
case.
Delphi. It is.
Yeah.
It's intense. It's hard to be a true crime YouTuber or podcaster and cover all these different cases when you have this that just clouds everything up all the time.
I know it just keeps going. It's like you go 6 years with nothing, and then all of a sudden, bam!
In a month and a half, you got everything.
Yeah. And it's just crazy.
It's crazy.
Jill Moser, I sure hope you feel better soon. She's got the flu bugs, so just sending out my thoughts to you.
Yeah, Jill, hope you're feeling better. As everyone else in the chat's saying so too.
Yeah, well, okay, so let's talk about Indiana Supreme Court.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what's going on in the Delphi murders case, there's a lot of drama going on between the attorneys. Former attorneys is what we should call them as of right now. The former attorneys for Richard Allen and the judge, that's a special judge that's presiding over the case in Allen County.
Yeah.
Marv, kind of give us a breakdown on what happened with those attorneys and that judge.
Okay, so as you all know, there was some leaks that have happened in this case throughout time since Richard Allen was arrested. Not just one, not just two, probably 3 or 4. And the biggest one lately is with the crime scene photos.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that, was it on the 19th, they go in there, judge brings Baldwin and Rossi into her chambers and pretty much tells them that they have 2 options. 1, to resign, or 2, to go out and take a verbal lashing and get thrown off the case.
Mm-hmm. And so they claimed, before we saw some documentation, they claimed that the judge coerced them and forced them out.
Right.
Now,
but we know that there was phone calls and emails before that happened mentioning disqualifying them.
Yes, between them privately with the judge. And she says this isn't the first time. She found them grossly negligent and had them removed. She was going to remove them, but from what I read in the in-chambers transcript, it seemed like they said, if you're going to do that, we're just going to go ahead and withdraw.
Exactly.
That's what I took from it. So I think that it's a voluntary withdrawal on the defense team's part, and they kind of backtracked to their statements because they didn't really want to be off the case, but they should have, in my opinion, they should have went out, let her say it, and then objected to it on the record.
Yep, exactly.
But instead, they filed documents with the Supreme Court, which has led us here today. They want the judge gone off the case now, and the judge wants them gone. So that's what the Supreme Court's going to decide. So
and then you have all the motions with all the paperwork, and all the motions not being filed correctly, and the judge blaming the court reporter or the clerk, and it's just become a big fiasco. So you have 2 writs of mandamus.
Yeah. Yep.
So just so everybody knows, there's 2 of them, not just 1.
Yes, there's 2. They filed 1 asking for documentation to be made public, the chronological case summary to be updated, and for other documents to be reinstated or allowed into the record, because after they withdrew from the case, technically they can't do anything on behalf of Richard Allen anymore. But they filed to have, these documents back on the case, but the judge struck those from the record. So the Supreme Court actually issued an order yesterday.
Hang on before you get there.
Okay.
If we're retelling everything, that was on the 19th that all that happened. Then you have the hearing on the 31st, where the new attorneys are there, but so are the old attorneys, the former attorneys.
Yes.
And the former attorneys are the ones sitting at the table. And the new attorneys are sitting behind them in the galley.
Yeah. And it makes no sense.
The judge didn't even acknowledge Rossi and Baldwin in the beginning. She went right to the new attorney and said, I hear you got a motion for me. What is it? And he says, well, we just got on this case and there's mountains and mountains of evidence and discovery, and there's no way we can get through all of that by January to have a trial.
Right.
And the judge was like, fine, what do you propose? And he goes, November of 2024. She goes, well, how about, and she moved it back, like, I don't know, 13
to October.
Yeah. But it was like 13 days. So in October of 2024, you know.
Yeah. That's a long time. That's a long time.
But look at how long Baldwin and Rossi have been preparing.
A year.
Yes.
A year. They got on the case around that time.
That new team a year too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to take them a year, especially because Baldwin and Rosie were saying that they don't have all the documents from the prosecutor and so forth.
Right.
So it took them a year and they still didn't have everything.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of speculation, but it's not really speculation. I mean, there is speculation. Maybe it's speculation on law enforcement's part too, but prosecutor Nick McClellan did say at a hearing for Richard Allen that they believe that he is not the only bad actor in this case. That doesn't mean they're not saying that someone else killed them. What they're saying is it is possible that someone else played a role in this somehow, some way.
Right.
So, you know,
or it's possible that somebody else is BG and Richard Allen
is just an accomplice. Yeah, is an accomplice. Right. It really makes you wonder, especially with all the Keegan Klein stuff that came out and, you know, what's going on with that. Is that related to this? Is that why there's still documents that are sealed from the public? And they're going to be sealed until trial. And I think that the reason for that is because there is some connection somehow, somewhere.
Well, I'm glad you announced that or said that, because I did learn a little bit. You know, I watch all these lawyers talk and everything. Okay. The prosecution, it is not unusual for them to hold evidence till the very last minute.
Exactly. And yeah,
and then give it to the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's like, oh, McClellan didn't give him everything. Well, that's because until he's told by the judge, you have this date to turn over everything, he's going to hold certain information because he doesn't want the defense to have it yet.
Exactly. And that's the thing is when they do that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a game to them. This is their job, but it's also a court game. You know, it's a battle
game between the lawyers.
It is a chess game. That's exactly what it is. It's a chess game, and it's about who plays the right card or who plays the right piece at the right time to secure that checkmate. Because if you don't, you could screw up real easily. And I think that that's what we're kind of falling into now is they're screwing up. People are screwing up in this case. And then there's a lot of stuff that we don't see. Okay. Right. And we're not going to see. The prosecutor has certain deadlines to give them certain things. Now they've requested things and then they come out and say they don't have it all, or that it was given to them and it's hard to get to sort through on flash drives and stuff like that. But that's what you get paid the big bucks for, guys, to sift through all that stuff and make sure that you come up with a defense. Now, apparently they had enough evidence to claim Odinism and point fingers at someone else, which I think is highly dangerous to do to people.
It is.
What's your thought on that? I mean, for them to go out and point the finger at Holder and those other guys, you know, and say they're the ones that committed the crime, what do you think that can do to him? If he's not,
and I'm really surprised that the names were not redacted. I really am.
I am too. Because that just, I mean, if people really think that they did that, I mean, look what people are doing to these people now. If they have no involvement, then they have no involvement. But what the people are doing is harmful to them.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that I've learned listening to all these different lawyers talk, and police officers and stuff like that, is that everybody's like, oh, the probable cause doesn't have enough in it. It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to.
What I learned is that a police officer can write 3 sentences in a probable cause, and as long as pertinent information is in those 3 sentences, he'll get his arrest warrant.
That's all they have. That's all they have to do, ladies and gentlemen. So for the people out there that are saying, well, they didn't say which direction Richard Allen left in, or they didn't say this or that or the other, they don't have to. They could have went out there and says, you know what? Richard Allen said he was at the trail. He was wearing a blue coat. Girls got, murdered. And here we are. So we arrest him because he was wearing a blue coat, and there he is. He said he was there.
And he was seen on the bridge.
And he was seen on the bridge. That was enough. That's enough.
That was enough right there to get him arrested.
About Betsy Blair, about the 3 girls. We don't have to hear about any of that. They did that because they knew that this was going to hit the public, and they wanted people to have some sort of an understanding of at least around about how it happened. Right. But I mean, it all leads up to this point now. So this case is at a standstill.
It is.
Until the Supreme Court makes a decision. Now, the new attorneys that were appointed by Judge Gull, and they are the chief public defender in Allen County, which is where she works. She's the judge there. Mm-hmm. And another attorney from the same county. So she works alongside these people all the time. So it almost seems to me
one of them just got off a suspension.
The chief public defender got off suspension. William Labrato. Yeah. If you just Google him, everybody, and I know I say don't Google people all the time because people do that to me, but I'm like, just Google him and you'll be able to see the first article that comes up is how he was removed for some reason and suspended. And he's the head public defender.
Now, not to mention, one of them also made a statement that they thought Richard Allen was guilty.
Yeah.
A while ago.
A long time ago. Yeah. And he even gave Robert Scremin. It was Scremin that said that. He was on the news talking about the Delphi murders case way back. You know what I mean? Way back, way before all this happened. And now he's appointed to the case. So he's actually made statements that said that he thought that the dude would have been guilty based on the forensic evidence of the bullet. And now he's got to represent him.
Yeah.
How are you going to backtrack that? Because if I was the prosecution, I would be like, you know what? You're sitting here saying that this guy is not guilty and that this is all bogus evidence, but let's play this interview here. What did you say right then? Now, you said he was guilty. Your own defense attorney says you're guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
How crazy is that?
So that brings us to where we are today. And the fact that the Supreme Court actually made a ruling. And I'm kind of shocked that it came so quick.
I am too. So the ruling, do we have those documents here?
We do.
Okay, let's pull up the first one, which would be, I would assume, the first writ, which was a published. Oh, it's okay. It's a published order denying the writ of mandamus. So in prohibition.
Now remember, earlier we said there's 2 writs of mandamus. This first one had to deal with all the documents, the motions, everything that wasn't on file or released to the public. Okay. The second one is the one that we're all interested in.
Yes. So this one here is basically what it's saying in here is, I'm not going to read all this, but what the court wrote is he requests that we, the Supreme Court, order the trial court, which would be Judge Gull, to reinstate several court records as publicly accessible documents on the chronological case summary, which is a CCS, which is what you're looking at when you look at my case. That's a CCS.
Right.
And so if you go down to the bottom paragraph, it says Allen has not made the requisite showing here. The requests that prompted this petition have largely been resolved and thus mooted, which is, it's without merit at this time.
Right.
by the trial court entered on November 14th, 2023. The order directed the trial clerk to take specific actions, placing on the CCS 118 individual documents that were previously made remotely accessible by court order in June 2023, unsealing 2 filings from June and July 2023 and placing them on the CCS, and 3, placing pleadings that Allen's former counsel filed in October 2023 on the CCS and making them accessible to the public, along with reinstating those excluded documents to the CCS. The November 14th order reflects the court's intention to comply with the ACR rules. Basically, what they did was they denied it because all those it was already done.
It's already taken care of.
It was already taken care of. So that is done. Okay. So it says, so the petition is denied because Allen bore the burden to persuade this court to issue a writ. He's not done so. So the petition was denied. This position is final. There will be no motions to reconsider in this case. It's over. That writ is toast.
And they basically gave him a lashing because they said this is not the proper way of doing this. You should have taken that in front of your judge first.
Yeah.
And we do not expect to see anything like this again.
Yep. And you know what? That's what the judge cited in her motion. The judge said, according to the law, they can't do this. And the Supreme Court agreed with her.
Yeah.
So that's a step for her. So right now, I would say at this point in time, with just reading that document, she's a step up. That's my opinion on it. But we have another document and we have another writ. Okay. So that other writ, what is it talking about, Marv? What was the purpose of the second writ? The purpose of the second writ is to request the Franks hearing, right? And to get rid of the judge or the attorneys. That's the purpose of this one here.
This is the big one.
Okay.
And just let me, yes, I will. Because a lot of people have been saying this incorrectly. They're like, oh, they shot down the judge's request or the request to remove the judge. That's not the case. Now listen carefully. The Supreme Court will hear oral arguments on the relator's second application for writ of mandamus and prohibition on January 18th, 2024 at 11 a.m. I did get a link. We will be watching that live.
You got it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Relator seeks a writ from this court reinstating his former counsel, setting trial within 70 days, and removing the trial judge and appointing a special judge. The argument will be conducted in the courtroom of the Indiana Supreme Court. Now, normally when they argue things like this, they get 30 minutes. They are giving them 60 minutes.
Equally divided between the parties.
Yes. So that means each party gets 30 minutes. Each side gets 30 minutes. Now, if the side that goes first, which is the relator, Richard Allen's side, if they want to rebut anything that the other side says, they can only talk for like 15, 20 minutes, and then they have to wait and listen to them and then rebut information for 10. They only get a total of 30 minutes to do it all.
Exactly. And you got to think, I always didn't like the way that they did that when they have the defense present their side first, because I've been a defendant and I'm always like, well, wait a minute. I don't want the last thing the judge to hear is how horrible I am from the prosecutor. I would like to go last. I would like to paint it in a positive light to end that conversation, not get 30 minutes to say my side and then the prosecutor gets 30 minutes to tear me up, because then I feel like it's just, that's the last thing in your head before you make a judgment on it, you know? So I don't agree with the way they do that. But in this situation, I agree, because I'm pro state judge on this one. And
yeah, so odd. Richard Allen's team is going to go first. Then the state or whoever is going to go next. And then Richard Allen's team will have an opportunity to refute or rebut anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it also says attorneys of record shall file an acknowledgement of the hearing no later than 5 days after service of this order, and should arrive at least 20 minutes before the scheduled start of the argument to complete any appearance forms. So, I mean, they're laying it out on the line of how this is going to work.
Exactly. Now, I wanted to mention something about speedy trials. So in Indiana, there are things called speedy trials. And it says this. Now, check this out. I'm going to read a couple things here from the law. So there is a criminal rule 4A and criminal rule 4B that individuals are in custody. If you're in jail and you're pending a trial, you cannot be held in jail for a period of longer than 6 months unless you waive that right while you're pending trial. So you can actually get out of jail without paying a bond or anything if you're there for 6 months and you don't waive that right. Most attorneys waive that right for you without you even knowing it.
Right.
But they apparently waived that right because they had to do it within a certain time period. Now they're requesting a trial to be held within 70 days, which is a speedy trial.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in subsection B of the law, it says if any defendant is held in jail on an indictment or probable cause affidavit shall move for an early trial, they shall be discharged if not brought to trial within 70 calendar days from the date of the motion. Practically speaking, in order for the defendant to be discharged, they must be in jail, move for an early trial, object immediately to a trial date if it's set outside of a 70-day period, not have taken any action inconsistent with motion for speedy trial, including filing their own defense charged continuance, object to continuance, or delays caused by the state to which he has notice, which the trial would be delayed, and after the expiration of the 70-day period, and move for discharge and dismissal without prejudice. Marv, I'm saying that they're past their time limit. They have asked for continuances in this case. I don't think that he's entitled to a speedy trial. And here's my thing. If they wanted a speedy trial so bad, why didn't they file it a long time ago? Why did they wait till this happened?
Yeah.
I don't
Let's be respectful in the chat, please.
Yeah. Yeah, let's be nice to each other, everybody. Let's not argue with each other in here. We get enough of that going on between the judge and the attorneys.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think it all depends on what the Supreme Court rules on this hearing. And then things are really gonna hit the fan, because if they say, okay, Gull, you're out, Rossi, Baldwin, you're out, we're gonna appoint a new judge, the new defense team comes in, and then that new defense team goes with the motion of the old defense team for a speedy trial, which I don't see them doing, because there's no way they're going to be ready in 70 days.
Exactly. There's no way. And I think that when they're doing that, when they're trying to do the 70-day thing, I think what they're doing is they're trying to hurry it up because they don't think the prosecutor is going to be ready based on his statements where he said he had to hire another guy to help him out. I think that they're trying to catch him to where they don't have all their evidence ready, and they're going to try to weasel their way in there and try to present a defense without the prosecution being ready.
Well, and I also heard that, and it made sense, because her calendar is like solid for trials, one right after another. And they said people felt that she wasn't ready for the trial either. Because like the 136-page Frank's motion, she admitted that she hadn't read it yet, along with all the exhibits and documents that went with it.
Right. Now, you said something about a criming shame. Okay, so this is Aspen and Sunny Justice's channel. Tell me a little bit about what you heard on that channel the other day, Marv, or yesterday.
So there was an attorney from Texas on there, and he was basically saying that if he was Judge Gull, he would have considered yesterday a very, very bad day. Because, so many things get thrown at the Supreme Court, and they only actually hear a small amount of it. The fact that they honored this hearing could be very bad for Judge Gull.
So do you now? Okay. So that's what the attorney thinks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would like to hear some more opinions on that from some different attorneys, prosecutors, things like that. This all happens so fast. It's hard to get experts on your panel immediately. It's very difficult to find people that are willing to do an interview on the spot, on the fly about something. Now, Bob Motta, he's a defense attorney, is actually, I think he's live now on someone that I have spoken with, and I admire his work ethic. Sergeant Joe Jackalone. He's been on Inside Edition. He's a legal analyst. He's a New York State homicide detective, retired. I think Bob Motta is going on there today. Now, I think he's on there now, actually, and they're talking about the Delphi case. Yeah, so I would encourage everybody to watch that because Joe Jackalone is a very educated person. He knows a lot about this kind of stuff. He's going to be interviewing Bob Motta. Now, Bob Motta is a defense attorney, and every time I've seen Bob, he acts as a defense attorney. So he's usually for the defense is what I see.
Right.
That's nothing against him, but that's his take is what I gather from that. Marv, what would you like to see happen in this case?
I told you.
What?
Fire them all and bring in everyone new.
We're just going to bring Donald Trump in to say, you're fired.
Oh, God, no.
Hey.
No.
What do you mean, no?
We would never get out of court. No, I cannot. Yeah, I know. I voted for him once.
Oh, no. I'm changing the name from Trump to Greeno.
Oh, yeah. No.
No.
That man just can't keep his mouth shut. We would never get out of court.
He's too much like me.
They had to put a gag order on him himself.
I know. I like that. That's so awesome. Here's what I would like to see happen. I would like to see the defense attorneys gone. I would like to see the new defense attorneys gone. I would like to see all new defense attorneys happen. I don't think the judge has acted inappropriate. I don't think. The only thing I do think that she did one thing that was a mistake. And that mistake would be to hire her friends to represent him. She should have put that through the Indiana Public Defender Council. They should have picked, not her.
And I personally don't feel that she should have taken them in her chambers. She should have done it out in the open and disqualified them.
Yeah.
But I say get rid of her too.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
This case is crazy because remember we already had Judge Diener withdrew from the case at the beginning because he's the Carroll County Circuit Court judge. This is who Richard Allen went before at first. He's the one that sealed the documents, and when everybody started making YouTube videos about him, he freaked out and quit.
I'll make this easy. Who do I think should stay? The new prosecutor, the guy that McClellan brought in. What's his name?
Something. I don't know. I don't know what that guy's name is.
He can stay.
He can stay.
He can stay. Everybody else goes.
Yeah,
McClellan,
exactly.
Judge, all four defense attorneys, throw them all out.
Throw them all out. Just get rid of them all and start over and go somewhere else and try it again. Are you thinking that this case is going to make it to a jury trial? Okay. Do you think Richard Allen's going to plead? This case is going to go to a jury trial, or there's going to be a mistrial in this case?
I don't think he'll plead.
You don't think he'll plead? I don't think his attorneys will let him plead. Luttrell.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
There's too many same letter names in this case too, and I do not believe for a minute that he will talk and plead because he hasn't so far.
He hadn't said anything.
And why should he? Because his defense team threw out this whole Odinist thing and made him look good.
Yeah, exactly. And he's rolling with it. He's rolling with it big time. He's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, that's a great idea, dude. Let's do that. Let's point the finger in that direction. I don't believe that he was threatened by Odinist. I don't believe it. I don't believe he was threatened by guards.
Girl, you make me laugh. I don't know about Nick.
He's gay. Just so you
No,
know.
he's not.
Nick McClelland's gay. You didn't know. Everybody knows that. Why does everybody say that, man? I don't know.
I think in order to make sure that Richard Allen gets a fair and impartial trial, you have to throw everybody off and start over.
Yeah, I agree. Why not Rosie with a new co-attorney? I'll tell you why.
Because he's already mixed up in the chaos.
He's mixed up in the chaos. He's technically, I mean, Richard Allen was his client too. You know, he helped make the decision that the documents would be stored at Baldwin's. Okay, not his office. In doing that, it led to all the circumstances that we are in today with the crime scene photo leak, which is what led to all this. Now, there was other leaks prior to that when Baldwin emailed Brandon Woodhouse, who was also a client of his, documents about the Delphi case.
Yep.
You know, a year ago, December last year. So that's not the first time that that's happened. There's multiple things, but here's the thing. There is no, like they said, law enforcement said that they do not believe that the girls were killed in a ritualistic sacrifice. Todd Click said that. Right? Now, Rosie and Baldwin both said in that transcript that they are withdrawing rather than be publicly scrutinized. I think that Rosie had the best chance to stay on. I don't think Baldwin does. I honestly don't think they're going to win this. I think that they'll hear arguments, but I think the judge is going to overcome this one. I'm in hopes that she does. You know, because guess what? If they don't, there's people out there talking about hiring Richard Allen an attorney. What do you think about that? Is that anybody's place to do that? Us as creators or anybody out there just from the public? Ladies and gentlemen, would you pay for Richard Allen attorneys? You have to hire two of them and they have to be special because they have to be able to take on this kind of a case.
No, you wouldn't keep him in jail because he hasn't been tried. So you'd almost have to let him out till trial.
Yeah, but they won't do that. They better not let him out. If they let him out, he is for sure a flight risk. For sure.
I'm not so worried about a flight risk. I'm worried about him getting.
Oh, I'd love that.
Not before we get our information.
Hey, that is real justice there. Well, I know he should. I don't think, but still, I think that he's going to be that type of guy to go in there and say, I still didn't do it. Jury, convict me all you want, but guess what? I didn't do it, and file an appeal. And I think that he'll be granted a mistrial, a post-conviction relief PCR, based on that. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I think that he's gonna either get a mistrial. I don't think he'll be acquitted for this for sure. I think I could see another trial happening after this one. He's gonna have to stay in jail for all that. You know? Why are people so adamant about him?
It all depends on what the prosecution has, and none of us know exactly what they have on him. They could surprise us. They could.
I love it. I'd love it if they did. If they came out and had all this mountains of evidence against him, and everyone's like, they don't have any evidence, I would just mic drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think that's what it is, but
I know.
You know, I think they may have a lot of circumstantial evidence that they think adds up and is equated to his guilt.
Yeah. Now, there is a lot of circumstantial evidence, but a lot of it I think is very compelling because it comes from him, of all people. He said these things. You know, the defense is also saying they had no right to search that house, that there was no reason to believe that he had any weapons associated with the crime. But he clearly said he had guns and knives at his house and was at the trail and was wearing the outfit, was on the bridge, saw the one witness. She said she saw two girls walk past her. That was Abby and Libby. He was only 1 minute away. You know how that trail works.
Yeah.
From where the girls were dropped off at that center section at the 501 sign where the memorial is to the bridge. How long does it take you to walk that?
We timed it. It was less than 8 minutes.
Less than 8 minutes. Okay. So if she's halfway back, we'll say 4 minutes. Okay.
Right.
4 minutes, if they're halfway, for Abby and Libby to get from where Betsy Blair says she saw them to Richard Allen, who was standing on the bridge. But he says he didn't see them. Is he lying? I say yes.
Okay.
Where would he go?
Really think about this on the trail. He's on the bridge, and the girls are walking, and she's walking. They would meet just beyond that bend where you see the bridge.
Yes.
So he wouldn't see them.
But if he's standing on the bridge and stayed there, where did he go? That's my question. Where did he disappear?
You're talking about as they're coming to the bridge. Well, yeah, he's going to see them.
Okay. And he said he didn't. Okay.
Well, how could you not?
That's why he's guilty. That's why I say he's guilty. It's like if I walked, I don't know. It's like if I walked into Marv's house and past her husband who saw me, and then Marv was right behind him, and I say, well, yeah, I saw him, but I didn't see her. She wasn't there. It's okay. Well, how did you see one but not the other? It just seems like an easy way to deny, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so this K. McBee brings up a good point. Look how divided our community is, whether he's guilty or not guilty. It only takes one juror to acquit him. To read reasonable doubt. Right now, we're split. So how's the jury gonna not?
I don't know.
How's the jury gonna convict him if we can't even agree that he's either guilty or not guilty? But like I said, we don't even know everything right now. We are in the dark on so much of what the prosecution has.
We are. We're big time in the dark about this. And that's what I really can't wait for. I waited a long time to see. I wanted to know who the bridge guy was. That destroyed me. Do you remember being at the memorial walks and we're looking at people going, man, is that the dude over there? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We're actually pointing out people there with us.
Are you kidding? We followed one with a camera and recorded how he walked.
Yeah. And he had a gun and everything. And I'm like, man, this dude, maybe, but he's not. But it's just the fact that that's what it did to our community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never, when we're looking at people that are innocent and just being like, man, maybe that's the dude. But then again, I looked at Richard Allen and never even thought of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just never thought that, oh, that guy did it? Of all people, that guy? Randy, how many times did you see that guy? You know what I mean? Did you go to CBS while you were there? I think that was our original meeting point in February.
It was supposed to be, and then we changed it to like McDonald's or something, and then that fell apart, and we all just met at the bridge.
Yeah.
Or in the parking lot.
In the parking lot. I remember that. And it was a cold day on February 13th, 2021.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a great event. I wish we still had all that footage from that. Randy's got it somewhere, I'm sure. So Richard Allen and the Supreme Court
hey, Randy.
are going through all this stuff. Now, the hearing is set for January 18th at 11 o'clock a.m., which is weird. Do you know why? Because that's the same day that someone else goes to court. Who goes to court that day, Marv?
Westerman.
Mitch Westerman, the man who leaked the crime scene photos, goes to court the same day as the Supreme Court holds a hearing for these guys. So we got two things going on at once.
And have you heard the rumors on that one?
On who? Westerman? What?
Yep. Rumors are that they're going to drop the charges against him.
I could see that. I could see it. I could really see that. I think that conversion is petty anyway. You know what I mean? If they arrested me for conversion, I would take it to jury trial too, because what can you do? It's like stealing a candy bar. It's nothing. So I think that I could see them not prosecuting that because it's kind of stupid in the first place. You know, I think the only reason they did it is because people were screaming that something needs to be done about that. Right. You know, the defense attorneys were saying, well, he came in and stole these documents. We didn't give them to him willingly. Well, if he stole them, then that's theft. Arrest him. And then they did. So
right
there you go. What? Circumstantial. I don't think the attorney general said the whole case is circumstantial, because I don't think he doesn't have the opportunity to review that.
Oh, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. But the attorney general did back the judge when he said that she, you know, was in the right on certain things. So he did back her. He's the top attorney in the whole state. He's over all the prosecutors, all the public defenders, everybody. He should be.
And I have to agree with you guys. As of right now, with what we know right now, I personally could not convict him. But I'm saying there's things that we don't know.
He's not talking about the case in particular. He's talking about the circumstances between the judge and the attorneys. He's not talking about the specifics of the case, the attorney general. He doesn't have access to any of that. That's what he's talking about.
Ooh, Randy, I want to get that book and read it.
Susan Hendricks'
book.
HLN.
Yep.
She came to Delphi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually reached out to Todd Rokita for an interview.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I reached out to him and I reached out to somebody else, and I filed a motion requesting the Johnson County Superior Court to allow a camera in the courtroom. Someone got denied. I filed one. I checked my case again today. It's not up there yet. I'm expecting it to be up there, but I hope I can get a camera in that courtroom. If I can, or a social media update post. I don't even care if I can't get a camera in the courtroom. Somebody out there who lives near Franklin, Indiana, Johnson County, go to that court hearing and shove a microphone in Mitch Westerman's face and just ask him the two questions that I want asked. Why did you leak the crime scene photos? What was your motive behind that? Okay. And two, are you going to plead guilty to this?
His attorney is Baldwin's friend, isn't it?
His attorney is someone he used to work with at Baldwin's office.
Okay, that's what it was. So it's an
what?
old coworker.
An old coworker. Yeah. An old coworker. So that don't make no sense.
No.
Now, listen, also, people, you have to take into account that you guys got to take into account that the media construes things to not always be exactly what it is. I've been there in person and watched people interview people. And when they present the story, it's completely different from what it was said to be. The way the person said it was not intended to be said that way, but the media put it out as a certain way. So you always have to reach out to that specific person and ask for clarification. Never believe the media 100% because they get so much stuff wrong all the time. All the time. Not all, but a lot. If someone could link me to that interview, I would love to see it, please.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I would love to see where he says that case is specifically, because I will send him a message and say, did you say this in what context? And we can get some answers from him, you know? And then that's when we should say it, you know? But if he got too involved in a case, it would be a prejudice and bias against
Oh,
him.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Richard Allen's in jail. He's been moved to Wabash.
Yep. Okay, so have you heard about something about construction work at prisons, and that's why Chadwell, Klein, and Richard Allen all ended up in the same prison?
Say it again, construction.
There's some construction work at some prisons, and that's why they're saying they were all put in the one prison.
Oh, I could see that, but usually the inmates do the construction on the prison. Inmates, they do. They have the inmates in there building the walls and stuff. So that I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know. It's just, I think it's interesting. Thank you, Sleuthy. I got it. I got the link. So she sent me a link to that video that we're talking about.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to see if I can pull it up here from the computer. Thank you, Sleuthy Goosey. If you guys don't know who she is, go follow her on X. I said it, X. She posts a lot of good. She posts a lot of good stuff. I follow her because I'm like, man, this is awesome. You should call in sometime.
Yeah.
Luthi, because you know a lot of stuff. Let me see here. So let me go to my messages and I will pull up this thing here while we are talking about it. All right.
So see, Randy heard the same thing, that in Westville, Indiana, they're remodeling the prison, and it was put out in August of this year.
Okay. All right. Westville is a bad prison. It's falling apart. I mean, literally, it's condemned. It's an old mental.
Julianne said they're building a new Westville prison.
Yeah, they are. They have been. Since I've been there, and I was in 2015. So they've been building that for a long time. There's a big field behind it, and they cleared out a field and put another fence there and says that's where you guys are going to be working. It's like, great. Can't wait to go work there.
Oh, you loved it.
You know what? It got me out of there for a little while. I loved it. It was amazing. I loved laying bricks in the field. You know,
at least you were in the sunshine.
I was in the sunshine. That's why prison would be better than jail. All right, so I've got the video. Let me pull it up. I gotta find it again. What the hell was it called? It was called yeah, I don't know what it was called.
All right. Taking a bathroom break.
I will find it. Go ahead. So everybody, I am just looking for that video. It's called Interview Indiana Todd Rokita. All right, so I'm going to share this video with you guys. Indiana Todd Rokita. So just give me just a second. I am looking for it. All right, let's listen.
Todd Rokita spent part of his day in Greater Lafayette today. And Mr. Rokita, thanks so much for coming in. Have you been keeping up on the Richard Allen case?
We have, in the sense that we represented the Department of Corrections today in the subpoena request from the prosecutor. So we have some tangential relation to it. And then, of course, if there's any appeal, we'll be involved there.
Are you aware of today's news? The prosecutors say he made multiple confessions while he was up at Westville.
I hadn't followed it exactly today, but, the prosecution's very good.
Hold on, I want to stop right there. Did you hear what he said? I haven't followed it.
Confessions while he was up at Westville.
I hadn't followed it exactly today, but, the prosecution's very good. And we have full faith and credit in them. And I just know that in the subpoena process that he's going to be staying at the correctional facility and not going back to county jail.
Yeah, and you represented the DOC. So how does that work? What was your office's work?
That's a great question, a good civics question. The Attorney General represents all the state agencies, or nearly all of them. And then we represent all the county prosecutors in terms of any appeals that come about as a result of their motions or even as a result of the final verdict. So, and the reason for that is because state criminal law needs to be uniform, especially at the appellate stage where precedents are set. So you don't want one county's prosecutor deciding something one way on appeal by the way he or she argues, and another county arguing the same issue a different way. So it all has to kind of come together, and it's my job as Attorney General, with the help of some great Deputy Attorneys General in a pretty large division of our office called Criminal Appeals, to make sure all that's synthesized.
So what work would you have done in the DOC representation for the Delphi case?
Right, so the Department of Corrections is a state agency, and they were subpoenaed, I believe, by the prosecutor for their testimony, and they deserve representation in that process, just like everyone else who would get a subpoena. And so we represented them. It wasn't necessarily a heavy lift, but we wanted to make sure they were prepared for the kind of questions they were going to get, that they had the information that both parties would want, and it went well.
So what do you make of the case in general against Richard Allen?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been following this case ever since I was the congressional representative from this area, and it's just so heartbreaking as a father to keep rehashing that story. And I know the people of this community and myself, we've been waiting so long for justice to be served. Still, this isn't necessarily a slam dunk case in that respect. The evidence is circumstantial. I want to see justice done, and I want to see it done to the right person. And this is not the easiest case to prove in that respect. Also, I remember that I have a reward out that I'd like to see the state police make sure, if there is a conviction here, it gets out to the right people. So, I mean, back from when I was in Congress, there was, I think, a $25,000 award that I was part of.
So who would get that in this case?
But did you see, he said he's not seen the documents. Only that. I'm going to reach out to him, because when people say, see, it's circumstantial, you see, you can't necessarily say that. He's not seen the evidence. He's not the prosecutor. He could not have access to those files. The only thing he can do is work on appeals. And like he said, he represents the state. He can't look at the documentation. That stuff is sealed from him too. I asked him for something. Wait, rewind it like 15 seconds. I got you, Sloopy. Let me pull it back right here.
They want to see justice done. Still, this isn't necessarily a slam dunk case in that respect. The evidence is circumstantial. I want to see justice done, and I want to see it done to the right person. And this is not the easiest case to prove in that respect. Also, I remember that I have a reward out that I'd like to see the state police make sure, if there is a conviction here, it gets out to the right people. So, I mean, back from when I was in Congress, there was, I think, a $25,000 award that I was part of.
So who would get that
there's
in this
more than
case?
that.
We'll have to wait and see how that works out, but it's for the person that helped us get the evidence, that made a conviction.
Yesterday, your office supported or opposed efforts to ban on gender-affirming care. What was your office's argument?
Okay, that's getting on a different subject.
Now he's getting on a different subject. Someone asked him here about the prosecutor. So Nick McClelland was reelected in 2020 through 2022, and his term limit is 4 years. So he's got 3 more years left. Someone asked that question. There's your answer. I didn't look it up. Where did he say he didn't see the evidence? He can't see the evidence. He said the only thing that he can do is represent the prosecutor on an appeal, and represents the DOC in the state. So when you file, like I sued Carroll County, and he wrote back and he says, you can't sue them in a tort claim because they're not a state entity. Yeah, like sheriffs, you have to sue them specifically. So,
Right.
yeah, there's, I don't think that he saw him. That would be such a conflict if he saw him. But I did reach out to him and I asked him, or I'm going to ask him. I didn't know that at the time, so I will ask him that. But I did ask his office for an interview. I don't anticipate one. I hope. You know what I mean? So he says yes. And now,
he didn't say that he had seen it.
Right. Yeah, he didn't say he had seen it. So let me ask you a question. So that video, I don't know where you got that. Sloopy. Okay.
Say that.
Search. There it is. Okay. So that was 5 months ago. 5 months ago. So that's before all of this stuff comes out.
Yep.
So we have to think about that. You know, I should ask that. Have you seen the evidence? I would love that. Yeah, I would love. Have you seen the evidence, Mr. Rokita? Or have you not seen it? And if so, I'll straight ask him the question. Then why would you say the case was circumstantial if you haven't seen anything? Because now you're influencing people to believe it.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
I'm not shaming any one of you in the chat. I respectfully disagree. But how can he say that if he hasn't seen or knows in full? I think a lot of times sometimes people say things and we don't necessarily, we're on the spot. You know what I mean? You're on the spot, you're in front of the television, and you speak. Sometimes you say things that you shouldn't say, or it was a misspeak.
Right.
You know? Oh, the day that McClellan said the confessions were made. Okay. So he didn't know about that day. You know, he also faces misconduct charges too. The Indiana attorney, you know, so
he opened his mouth before and got in trouble for it.
Exactly. So, you know, he is not the best, but he's not the worst either.
Right.
What happens now, though? What happens now in this case? Let's say
nothing happens right now.
Well, let's say they get it resolved.
Okay.
Let's just say that it's all resolved. Rosie and Baldwin are back on. The judge is on. Where do we go from here?
Oh my God, more chaos.
Okay, so
the only thing I can see is that can Judge Gull and Rossi and Baldwin somewhat work together? I don't see it after all this.
I don't see it either. I just think that the reason that Richard Allen wants them as an attorney is because they offered him that. They said, hey, dude, listen, sign this document because there's no guarantee the new attorneys are going to come in here with this Odinist theory. They don't have to adopt it.
No, they don't.
They don't. They could start over with a whole new theory and be like, you know what? It wasn't Odinist at all. It was these fairies over here in Wonderland. You know what I mean? That did it. They could. I mean, and then if they did that, what would be your first opinion on Richard Allen if they changed up the motive and the story?
Randy brings up a good point. Randy says Richard's old lawyers are the ones who put him in danger in the first place.
And how's that? Tell me.
Well, this whole Odinist theory, I mean, and throwing names out there in the public, that to me was the biggest thing that upset me of all. Those names should have been redacted.
I agree. Can we open it up for some call?
Yeah, go for it.
Sleuthy and Case by Case, or anybody else, if you'd like to call. Randy, give us your opinion. We would like to hear it. You know, I'm not asking you to come on here to argue with you at all. It's just a debate. It's just, if I disagree, I disagree. I'm not mad or anything like that at any of you. I actually didn't know what you sent me today. So it's news to me, and it's something I'm going to look into. This is the link. It's posted on Marv's channel and my channel. If you're wondering, someone asked earlier why I can't see some of the comments. It's because we're on both channels.
Yeah.
So you'll see some, if you're in Marv's chat, you'll see hers. If you're in mine, you'll see mine. And if you see the ones on the screen, it's coming from both. So call in, let us know who you are, and kind of give us your opinion on this. How long you've been following it, and what do you think's going on in this case? I would love to hear your opinion. And I know Marv would too.
Heck yeah. I mean, how do you think that, say they let Rossi and Baldwin back on and Judge Gull stays on, how do you think this is all going to play out?
Well, it's going to eventually make it to an appeal, because they're going to claim, oh man, this was all corrupt, and look, they did this and did that.
There's one scenario that would bring on an appeal, and that's if he's found guilty. If he's acquitted, they ain't appealing nothing.
No, and you know what's screwed up is the prosecutor can't appeal that.
No.
You know, if someone's acquitted, the prosecutor can't be like, you know what, I want a reach shot at that. But you can the other way around. Keeping Gull and new attorneys affect his speedy trial.
Yeah.
Getting a new judge doesn't affect him, and bringing in new attorneys means back he gets trial in January. You know, I still don't even think that they would have a trial in January, even if they had it already. I just don't. I don't see that happening.
Oh,
You know,
I do.
and
If they brought Rossi and Baldwin back, oh yeah.
so, and here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. So, trial court regarding. So, I filed in 2020 for a speedy trial myself. Okay. And do you know what I was told? I was told that according to the President of the United States and the Governor of the state of Indiana and the new restrictions on COVID-19, that now they can stop speedy trials at any moment because it could affect public health. And they don't have to give you a speedy trial within 70 calendar days. So let's say Richard Allen, they say, okay, we got your trial date set up 70 days. All of a sudden, someone comes up with COVID. Guess what happens?
No.
Back it up. I don't want the trial to be in January. Too cold.
No, the new attorneys, as far as I know, have not asked for a speedy trial because there's no way they can be ready in 70 days. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Go ahead.
Randy.
Hey,
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
not much.
Randy, what do you think about all this, man? You've been following it from day one.
I've been following. Like I said, it's this case has been crazy. Well, first of all, I'm not gonna put his attorneys is the one who put Richard Allen in danger in that prison up there, and how they act in that prison, trying to meet him and threaten to want to see his cell and stuff. They're the ones making him in danger.
That's a good point.
And how they act in the courtroom and stuff like that, it's getting outrageous. And they've been trying to get him moved to another prison, but you know who done it? It was Todd Rokita, one who moved him to the southern half of Indiana.
Yeah. Now, do you think that's any better? Or do you think they just did that just to shut some people up?
Well, I'm thinking because if he was already in danger in that prison up there as was, I think Todd Rokita said, hey, we got to remove him before somebody actually gets a hold of him.
And someone will.
Yeah.
Harvey, can you drop my
Gotcha.
link for me? Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I know what that means.
So, Randy, when you look at Richard Allen, you've seen him in person in court.
Oh, yeah, especially losing weight and stuff. Oh, holy heck, yeah.
So, do you see Bridge Guy?
Yeah, I can see Bridge Guy, especially when he said him into the interviews that he wore the same clothes, the same jacket on that bridge.
Yeah. So, do you think he's the guy?
No, it's him. Yeah, it's definitely him. How can you not miss if Libby took that photo of him on that bridge wearing the same jacket, same pants, and that you can't miss that evidence right off the bat.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's
I don't see it.
Why don't you see it, Marv? Why don't you see it? Why don't you see it?
It's not him.
Why is it not him? He admitted to being there dressed like that.
I can admit to being in the Eiffel Tower dressed like that.
Okay, well, if you know two kids just got slaughtered.
His facial features does not match that picture. I'm sorry.
What picture? The bridge guy?
Yes.
We can't tell who that is, though.
You can see the outline of his face.
Yeah, but that could be Randy. That could be me. That could be somebody else. It could look like anybody. You can make that fit people. You know, I think so. You know what I mean?
No.
I like that you don't agree. So do you don't think Richard Allen's the bridge guy?
No,
No.
no.
So who is?
I haven't found him yet.
So you think there's another dude out there that was dressed just like him?
Half the men in your county dress like that.
I don't. You ain't never gonna see me wearing a blue coat and well, I guess I got a blue coat.
Randy,
What?
how many guys in the county dress like that? A lot.
Lots. There are lots.
Well, the problem is there's only one type of jacket he wore. And I don't find that type of jacket where I live. I go to Lafayette all the time. I don't find that type of jacket. Where did he find that? He used to live in Mexico, Indiana, close to Rochester and Peru.
Yeah.
Did he get those up there?
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm from Indiana. I'm from Delphi, so I know. I know what people dress like.
But okay, so the prosecutor says he confessed. Okay, but to what extent? What were his exact words?
Well, we're going to find that out in trial. They have transcripts.
Right. So if they have transcripts from it,
and
it says, I killed Abby
because
and Libby, then okay, he's done.
How the person who runs that prison up there said that in that courtroom, why would you get pissed off throwing a $300 iPad against the wall?
Yeah.
Because his wife hung up after he, I think that she was maybe she was just trying to get him to tell the truth, and he finally did, and then she hung up, and he's like, smash, and smashed it.
Yeah, $300. Nobody, like he said, that's the one time he only gets that iPad. Usually he doesn't get it, but due to this case, they went out and got another one because he's been doing stuff on his iPad, talking to people, and watching them on camera. So, yeah, being that nervous and pissed off all the time.
Right. Now, I think that, so they're saying that, play I think they will play those recorded hearings. You can get people's jail calls. You can call and get them. People have done it to mine and other people. You can get people's jail calls and everything they say in there. In this case, I don't know if that's possible right now, but eventually we'll be able to get access to hear those.
So whatever it is, because he said they got it recorded in the courtroom, and he was there, and he said, well, yeah, we recorded everything in that little cell of his, and what he's been doing, we can listen to him.
Yeah, they can hear everything that's said. So let me ask you guys this. Randy, Marv, do you think Keegan Klein is involved with Richard Allen somehow? Is that... Did he catfish him?
I don't think so. If he wasn't in the area, but he's used Rich Allen used fake names before, so on different.
Exactly, it's possible that they actually interacted with under fake names, but never knew that that's who they were talking to.
Okay, I could see that. That was a question I asked earlier today when Randy posted something about Fortville, man. And I went ahead and made a video on it and talked about it this morning.
Because I did hear that Richard Allen. Now I don't know if this is true or not, but I was told allegedly he likes his porn and stuff too. So
let me answer the question that Jenny Krause said. Krause, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Now, Jenny, let me explain something. If I was the innocent person and put in prison, I wouldn't be acting like Richard Allen. I would be sitting in a jail cell, acting calm and cool, because knowing I'm not the killer of being innocent, but how he's been acting in this cell, that's totally different of being not innocent.
Yeah, he doesn't portray as an innocent person. If I was innocent and they arrested me, oh, you best believe if I saw the news cameras there, I'd be like, listen, I didn't do this, people. I didn't do this. I would be screaming every chance I got. Listen, I didn't do this. I am willing to do anything I can to make sure that everyone knows I didn't do this. He's not doing any of that. Daniel Mason did more than he did. Who is it? Hey, Alsane. Even the people who say they don't. Yeah, you know what? You're right. There you go. It's probably right. How could Keegan Klein not be involved? I don't know. I will say that prison's better than being in a county jail, though. I would love it if I was him. But, you know, he has access to go outside. Granted, he is secluded, but he can go outside. He can do more there than he can anywhere else, especially Delphi. You know? Yeah, and it's tough to talk when you're in solitary confinement.
Mm-hmm.
So, Randy, you've been to all the court hearings, right?
Most of them, yes.
Have you talked to his wife?
No, I see her with his mom.
What is their? What are they like?
They're just kind of like I would say they just want to be by themselves sitting in the courtroom. Look, when they do come, it's like, well, don't bug us. I know one day when Andrew told his wife one time, you see these YouTubers, if they say anything, write it down. So she's kind of, and it's like, all right, she overheard a lot of them talking one time in the courtroom. So she must have complained to the attorneys that, hey, this is what these people are talking about behind his back when you guys are not hearing it. So
That's
yeah. And Marissa, just to let you know, there has been no confirmation that animal hair or DNA was found.
No, they said fibers.
Fibers, yeah.
Yeah, fibers. They wouldn't say. They said they had a human element and a scientific element, is what they said. Doug Carter said that years ago. A human element and a scientific element. We never knew what that meant. I'm assuming the scientific element would be the bullet, and the human element would be some sort of DNA. I'm guessing. I don't think they know whose that is. So, well, you know, you really can't. I mean, nobody was going to advise you how to behave, and they couldn't really control him how to behave, right? I mean, because think about where he's at. He's not in the best of situations. So the way he acts is just based on what he's going through at that very moment.
And I do think it's odd that he has not said, I'm not guilty, I'm innocent.
Agreed. People that are not guilty stand up and scream it and repeat it. You know, I would, especially for a crime like this. I'd be like, no, dude, hold on. And I just don't think they went and grabbed some random dude that's never been arrested before from CBS of all places and said he did it. I don't think that they're that corrupt.
No, I don't either. I believe that they have something on him that ties him to the crime.
Well, like he said, he's the only one is allowed to touch his guns.
Right.
And be the only one to touch the bullets he loads the guns with.
And he said he's never been on the property of Ron Logan. So So it just doesn't add up, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't add up. Plus, it says in the video of the bridge guy on the probable cause affidavit that a male is seen and heard approaching, pulling out a pistol, cocking it, and saying, guys down the hill.
And that's what Anna, you hear a lot of times Anna said in her interviews and stuff.
Yeah, they've heard it. And, you know, and listening to that is scary, I think. You know what I mean? Just the whole thought of what happened there, just from the end of the bridge to the hill, is scary.
Oh, it's very scary.
Well,
I don't even want to think about what those girls went through.
Well, the law enforcement, when they came out with that photo of the guy on the bridge, they gave him an opportunity to come forward to ask him, what did you see? But he went a different direction. He didn't go to the police department or the sheriff's department. He just went to the DNR. guy at a grocery
And
store.
why is that? Why would you go to a DNR guy?
Because he knew him, apparently, right? Didn't he know him or something?
Well, he was meeting him at the grocery store, or saw him at the grocery store, but where that grocery store is, it's only a block from the police station. Why go to him?
It doesn't make sense.
Wallman's? Is it Wallman's?
Yeah, Wallman's.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So he met at Wallman's. Yeah, why didn't he just go to the police station if he
Why
wasn't?
didn't the DNR guy just take him to the police station? Like, well, what are you telling me for? You need to go over there. I can ask you over there. Why don't you just go there? That's the strange part. Talk to the DNR guy. That's the wrong place to go to, because the police and the sheriff and the state police are all asking for this guy from that bridge.
Yeah, and they put the picture out of him.
Yeah.
You know, so it would have been. I can't figure out which one happened first. I thought that he approached the DNR guy before they put a picture of the bridge guy out.
I think they put the picture of the guy first,
and then he came forward.
Yeah, he came forward. So I think Richard Allen knew, oh, like, shit, okay, that's me. I better come up, find some way to backtrack this story, saying he didn't see him.
Do you remember when they came out with that news article a while back, Randy and Marv, where they said, after they released that second sketch, they said, no, the person in the first sketch has been identified and is no longer a person of interest in the case.
And becomes secondary.
Yeah. Was that Richard Allen that they were talking about? Where they're like, we figured out who that, because that was a question. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. You're telling me that this guy came forward?
I think it starting to sound like Richard Allen, but when you lose somebody's paperwork with an interview after the police went through how many times through all those interview videos, going back and see them. Who did we miss? He's in that interview somewhere, but somewhere they lost that particular interview.
Yeah. How do you lose that?
It was named wrong.
A clerical error. You know, they have a lot of clerical errors here with crime scene leaks and, we accidentally released a Ron Logan search warrant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The transcript from Keegan Klein's interview.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of clerical errors here that we're dealing with. It's so, I never saw it going this way. Randy, do you think that Odinists are involved in this case?
Oh, heck no. They had that at the beginning of this case.
Yeah.
And they went through every single thing.
Okay, Emily, I heard the don't guy passed away. What do you mean?
What? Who?
Don't. I think it's Doctor.
Oh, Ron Logan passed away. Even though you see him in chat, Ron Logan really did.
Oh, no, not the DNR guy didn't pass away. No, he's still alive. It was another officer.
Yes, there's a video out there that talks about some guy named Skinner as the DNR officer. It's not. It was Dan Doolin.
Yeah, he's still around. He's
around. He's young. I mean, he's not that old.
Person.
Yeah. Yep. Why do we think that Richard Allen took the long way to Ron Logan's house, or back by Ron Logan's house, to meet up with two young girls and get the instructions? By coming from the west. Randy, we've been out there. So when you drive from Richard's house past Anna's and Abby's, right, on 200?
Yeah, 200, yeah.
You just go left, and then you eventually turn left again and come across the Freedom Bridge, or the Wilson Bridge, right?
Yeah, you go, because you continue towards, like, you're going towards 75, heading towards between Flora and Camden. And there's a road in between that gets over to 300. And that will take you to the Wilson's Bridge, because Derek took the back way coming from Frankfort, Indiana. So he took the back way to it. So I don't know which back way he took, but if he stayed on 300, stay on 75 to turn on 300, that would make more sense. So I don't know how another back way. There's a road in between that 200 to get to
450. Yeah.
So Jimmy, no, it is not proven that that's Richard Allen pulling the gun out and cocking it. No.
It is presumed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
He spoke to Dan Doolin. Okay. I hope the lawyers are reinstated and Gull removed. He will for sure be found guilty with that defense. Not necessarily.
You never know. While you guys are looking for this, I'm going to look for something that shows us some video clips of the probable cause of what's going on, the directions he took and stuff. So just give me a couple minutes. You guys take it over from here. I'll be right back, okay?
All right. So, Randy, what do you think is going to happen here once all this? Do you think the defense team is going to get reinstated?
If the defense team is going to get reinstated, they're going to still put their client more danger than ever. How they've been acting in courtrooms and in prisons here, it's just been putting him more in danger. And what else is going to come up with? They're going to come between Colt and what somebody's going to say that there was attempted murder on him in this prison where he is now. If they got back on.
But do you think there's a chance the defense team could get reinstated?
No, I think if Todd Rokita had his way, like he said, reinstate the judge.
Right.
And he's right not to restate the original lawyers. Let the two new lawyers come in. I think Rich Allen would be more safer with those two new lawyers because the guy I read on, he's been in law enforcement and in attorney for a murder attorney for a long time. And he's qualifying in 4 different states, California, Illinois, Florida, and some other states that he can do attorney laws. And he used to be a SWAT who was on a SWAT team in California.
Yeah. So now, what are your thoughts on the judge? Is the judge staying or is she going?
I'm thinking, hopefully she stays, unless she decides to, due to her health.
That's what I was wondering too.
And think, nope, whatever happened to her in November, if she thinks, okay, I'm traveling between Fort Wayne, Indiana to Delphi. It's not helping her and health. And plus she's got, every time at the end, she shows us kind of like the book here, that thick pages saying, this is all my court cases of murder. And she only has one retired judge can take her place until those 2 weeks. Jury trial for Richard Allen.
That's interesting. Yeah, I found it. It's downloading right now. I'm going to pull it up here in just a minute as soon as it comes up. All right. So, man, this case is crazy. I'm so stunned at all the stuff that's happening here. I don't know how.
I never saw all this coming.
No, I never saw it coming, and I don't see where it's going either.
Our 3-hour tours is still not over with this case anyhow.
I know. This case is so crazy. So Randy, what was the last memorial walk that you did for Delphi? I know you did the one for Flora.
Well, October. It was October. And then Becky came. Yeah, Becky came and Cody came last October when we found out Rich Allen was arrested. So with Cody and his wife.
Yes.
That was a good thing. I am so glad that happened. And then, a couple years before that, it was a relative that was up there the day we met Marv. That said the prayer and stuff like that, and went to dinner with us at Pizza Hut. And the family's very involved, whether people know it or not. There's lots of behind the scenes stuff that people don't see with like Randy, Marv, myself, other people, Gray Hughes and stuff. we all communicate with them and we see them, and there's good terms there. It's just that we're local and we don't want to push these people to give interview after interview after interview, because man, we see what it does to our community.
Well,
and
they've been asked about 50 million questions the last 6 or 7 years now. So yeah, and they got, like they said, it's time for them to move on and get this case over with. And it's not getting any closer here now because the circus with the 2 lawyers is going on.
Well, you got to remember too, look at Becky last October. She came, Cody came, like you said, Cody's wife came.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to take back those trails.
Yeah, she wanted. Right? Yeah, she wanted to take back those trails, and
she didn't know if she could do it. And all I said to her was, "Just let us help you."
Yeah, I told her, if you don't want to, you.
Yep. We did.
And we kept the press because I know there were some people were calling saying there was some press wants to talk to Becky, but we said no to her, and she told a local J&C newspaper that we can't talk to you due to our lawyers.
Mm-hmm. So we protect them as much as we can. But we also
Susie wants the link dropped again.
Oh,
okay, Sleuthy, will you drop that link to her? I got the video pulled up now. I'm gonna drop something here so we can watch it as we're talking about all this stuff. This is just what I'm gonna pull up here, everybody, is just footage that you guys can watch during us talk if you want to. It's my reenactment that I did on the digital format based on what the probable cause affidavit said. So I just read the probable cause affidavit and put video to exactly what they described. So that's the only thing that this is. So when you guys are watching this, just keep that in mind, that's what it is. Not that. There you go. That was a little loud. That was loud.
That was very loud.
Very loud. So there, we'll just let this play while we're talking.
Yeah.
And let's see if we can.
There's a few scenarios this can go, ways this can go. It's so hard to say which one it's going to be and then where it's going to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that high-pitched sound is back.
Marv's having a problem with her pipes in her house, everybody. She's like, it's squealing. It's squealing so loud. It's like, and I'm like, oh, take the phone in there. Let me hear it. I'm like, it's got to be water running through the pipes, Marv. What was it?
Every time you turn the water on, it stops.
It's water running through the pipe.
Oh my gosh.
But it drives me nuts after sitting in here all day working, and oh my God. Okay.
So Sleuthy I think is going to come up and talk to us. Sleuthy Goosey. I've been trying to get you on my show for a long time. It's about time you get your ass up here. Sleuthy.
Hello, Art of Deduction. How are you?
What's up, Frank?
I saw, should I stay or should I go? Who said that? Oh, Jimmy. Stay.
Should I go?
Marv is haunted, yeah.
Okay, she's coming. Awesome.
Emily says you have air in your pipes. Is that what it is?
It's
I
said no. Hey, Mark, what's up?
Hey, Mark,
Mark, I got to meet him at a walk too.
Yeah, he's been at the floral walk. Came to the floral walk too.
Mark, have I met you? Have I met Mark?
I don't think you have.
No, you haven't. He wasn't there, but he's been coming more and more. He wants to go to Mark Tate's thing down there.
Yeah.
I know he wants
to Tabitha.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said we go for him. I said, yeah, I wish I could have gone the last time, but since I was in the hospital,
I know.
I would have made it.
I know you're always there for us.
Yeah. And he's always there, and I'm always glad to see him. and stuff. So,
Okay, I had to go turn the water on. Driving me crazy. Can't stand it.
Jeez, everybody. That's funny. Yeah, it says your relief on your water heater is bad, Marv. Did you get that? I'm sure she got it. I'm sure she got it.
now,
So-
see, if we watch this video, when he was showing on 300, you can see from where the girls were dropped off, that you can see from the cemetery all the way down to Ron Logan's. So you can't see. I don't know how you cannot see anybody walking down on that road and miss them.
Right.
And especially all the trees where you can see through everything. Once you get down the south side, now since you can't, but you can stand on the south side on Kay's property. You can see from where the creek is to, hey Frank, to the bridge through all those trees.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see. People don't realize that. You can see pretty far there. You know, and you can hear even further. Randy, remember when we did that test?
Oh yeah, we especially when Marv was down where you and Julie were standing at. I yelled down there to them and scared them, but like, wow, I said, yeah, you can hear. It's like he said that one time that Kay Weber was asking who's in the red shirt standing at the north end. That one time. And he told him it was me.
Wasn't that Greeno?
Sorry.
Greeno, did you ever try to reenact like the alignments of the Snapchat photos?
Yeah, actually, I did. So there's another
yeah,
video I've got. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah,
out
we
there.
did. The girl who just died of a heart attack. She was me and her and Anthony was out there, and he was to see if they can play the videos.
Wait, who died?
Yeah,
Someone.
Rebecca. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't know that, dude.
Yeah, she died of a heart attack in the hospital. I talked to her one time after I got out of the hospital, and she called me and asked me what's going on. And she said, I was trying to catch up with everything, but she lived in Illinois. And then next minute I know, Frank Meister said Rebecca passed away of a heart attack.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, that was like 3 or 4 months ago.
I didn't know that.
No, actually, no, it was in October when got the word.
Wow, I did not know that, man. That is.
I didn't know she was that sick either. So, yeah.
That's so sad.
Frank,
Yeah, what's up?
is Richard Allen the bridge guy, dude?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else involved?
Nope.
What do you think is going to happen with this court hearing?
On the 18th,
Yeah.
the second writ got applied for oral motion. It's not that new.
Right. Do you think that they'll kick him? Not kick him?
No, it's same thing happened in the Idaho case. Also, a writ was, well, I'm not sure if Sloopy can probably attest to that. I'm not sure what happened, but the media also did, well, this is a writ for the appliance of new attorney or the stay of attorneys, right? They did that in Idaho with the stay of the court cameras. Or not the court cameras, the lack of transparency. So they did an oral motion. Nah, it's not really impressive unless they have some really good discussion. And we love a good discussion.
Yes.
So,
So,
a good argument.
okay, I got to edit us here, Marv. So I'm going to have to pull in another slot for sleuth. We've never had these many people on here before, everybody. So
No, we haven't.
So let me go ahead and adjust Sleuthy here.
Did I tell you I updated
What updated what?
my StreamYard plan?
Did you? Okay, so
Oh, yeah. How many people can you have on now?
A lot.
A lot
think-
now.
Yeah.
all right, I'll join your plan then. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we have art of deduction, which is Frank, which is below me. Sleuthy Goosey, which is right here. Marv, Randy Gravitt, and a video playing.
They're playing all at once. Cool.
Hey,
Sloopy, what's up? This is the first time I'm going to hear your voice.
I honestly don't usually join panels this large. If I'm fucking up the whole layout, I can like change the picture and jump down if you want.
You're fine.
Like now it looks all discombobulated. Now I just messed up the whole thing. It was all nice and the video was in the middle.
It's okay. It just leaves a spot for 3 other people to show up.
Before I was trying to join, I heard Frank talking about the media people that went to try to overrule the judge's opinion for Idaho 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I thought it was
they basically
it kind of feels the same.
Yeah, they basically when they went up there, they were saying that they were arguing the gag order, like that it was essentially way too broad and that no one could speak, and that the reason a bunch of misinformation was coming out was because people that weren't even under the gag order were using the gag order as a reason not to speak. And the Supreme Court there basically said, this is not our place.
Was it the Supreme Court?
You need to go.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, it was the Supreme Court. No, it was the Supreme Court. Then it got denied and they needed to go back to the regular court.
Yes. And then they essentially filed all that same stuff that they filed with the Supreme Court with the judge, which I really like him. I mean, I feel like
he's good.
I really do like him a lot. I trust him and I feel he's very, I don't want to get too far off track, but I do trust him as judge.
No, but it kind of like felt the same, you know, even though this is now going to the Supreme Court. So I think it's sassy.
Frosty, come join the discussion.
Oh my gosh. I've never had it like that. It's like, holy cow.
We just want to know what everybody thinks. Which way is this going to go? Gull stays, they get reinstated, they all go.
Well, let's establish first. I think Sloofy can kind of like corroborate on. Well, corroborate. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Sloofy, what is happening on the 18th? They did a writ. So what now?
So they're having oral arguments for the second writ, which is basically all that stuff that was filed where they talked about the disqualification. They asked for the attorneys to be reinstated. They asked for Judge Gull to be removed. They asked for the 70-day speedy trial demand to go through. And essentially the Supreme Court read all of the briefs, all of the records that were provided and said, we need more information. We need to be able to clarify. We need to be able to ask questions. So we're going to schedule an oral argument. And they did. They scheduled it for an hour. They'll have 30 minutes each. They can divide it different ways. Like they could either do, 30 minutes and 30 minutes, or they could say, well, like the relators, which is Richard Allen, could say, well, we would rather speak for 20 minutes, let them speak, and then use our final 10 minutes. I would want the last word for sure. So I'm not sure what they'll do, but that's what they can do. And the Supreme Court will ask them questions. It'll mostly be them asking questions and them arguing, and they can only argue what they've already provided. They can't add anything else.
And do you think this is going to set a precedence?
It absolutely will. Either way, whatever way it goes.
Yep, I agree.
I have to say that second writ has some extremely good arguments.
Yeah, there will be case law established because of this case here.
Yeah.
So, Saluti, do you think Richard Allen's guilty?
Well, we know, and I don't know if that's like a nefarious laugh or if that's like I already know the answer laugh, because I hate when I'm asked this.
I already know the answer.
Because nobody likes my answer because I don't outright say he's guilty or he's innocent. Huh?
Deflecting.
I'm having flashbacks. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
The fact of the matter is that right now he is innocent. I personally, what I have been able to read thus far in all of the court filings, I would not be able to say that he was guilty. Is that reasonable?
Okay,
there's still
With the information we have now. Oh, go ahead.
And having
there's still probably one evidence out there they haven't brought up yet.
right.
Well,
But
yeah,
I'm
and that's
saying,
what I was gonna say. Is in the same breath, I'm willing to, if there's other stuff, like I'm willing to hear. This is why I don't like getting cornered in. I said this to Ruckus whenever I talked to him on Frank's live that day. I feel like if I corner myself into the he's guilty side, I'm going to be less willing to listen to things that says that he's innocent than if I'm on the, well, he's still innocent side, and then you provide me things that show that he's guilty. I'm more open to those things as opposed to the opposite way.
right now we don't know enough to say that he's guilty.
I know enough. He's guilty.
Well, but
I think so
and then
too.
I tried to
I know. It's
I tried to
guys versus girls. It's okay.
yeah, I
We can
tried to
take
explain that. Yeah, I tried to explain that too. It's a little difficult to have debates with things when, if you're like, I can only strictly debate you on the things that are in the documents. I can't debate you with
Right.
information that you have from people that you've spoken to that I don't know if it's verified or not. You know what I mean? So it's two
Right.
totally different arguments that we're trying to have. If we want to talk about the court documents, I'm happy to do that, but I can't.
Well, there's a really simple answer for that. I did a live today with an extremely accurate timeline. Richard Allen places himself on the bridge with that extremely accurate timeline. So
well, you can't say that, Frank. You can't say that, though. You can't say Richard Allen placed himself there because
he places himself there.
Law enforcement places him there. He
did it himself.
Well, for all we know, in the recorded interview of him, he said he was there from noon to 1:30, which is outrageous to me, because if that were the case, then there's no possible way he could have been there, because he would have been gone before the girls got there. However, that's the only thing that we have. And then we have Doolin's, thing that he wrote up after he spoke to him at the grocery store that said that he was there between 1:30 and 3:30.
But let's say that, there's something really interesting going on with the index files. You have them, and they cannot be considered, I guess, I don't know if they're official or not, but let's say that they're part of the discovery. Those index files are really interesting. And if, at least I have now 7, I'm not sure if you have them, I'm willing to send them. But there's something really
Discovery
interesting.
Index?
Yeah. But there's some
I think
really
I have like
interesting
5
stuff going on.
pages.
I can send you the all 7.
Okay.
Like, I'm saying
Well,
all
maybe I have
7,
7.
otherwise I got hella confused. But I got 7 now. Now the interesting thing is that why did certain events happen at the 13th? I think they were shadowing Richard Allen, and if you think about it, this is totally spitballing here right now, right? If you think about it, why certain people are not supporting him while they're living in Indiana, including his own daughter and his son-in-law, that makes me think, there's a huge tip in this entire case. I think that needs to be considered. That stuff will not be in the PCA.
No, it won't. And we talked about this earlier, Frank and Sleuthy and Randy. So one thing that, and I'll just reiterate it because there's a lot more people in here. One of the things I learned is the PCA is going to give you a very limited amount of information. You actually can just put 3 sentences in a PCA and get arrest warrant.
Yeah, because it's a legal standard.
Yep.
Well, see, of course, at the beginning of this case, the police said they're not going to let certain evidence out to the public. So they still got evidence there they haven't gave out to us.
Well, here's now, in terms of details, those are important. So they always say, well, we have, details that we're keeping quiet because only the person that was there, the killer, would know, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, just to kind of show how detrimental leaking crime scene photos can be, in this case in particular, is the fact that now everyone in the world knows that Abby was wearing Libby's jeans and Libby wore jeans that day. The only person that would have known that was the person that put the jeans on Abby's body. So now when someone, or if someone does confess, that's one less thing that they would be able, because you don't just say, I did it. And then you say, hey, judge, so-and-so said that they did it. And she's like, okay, let me sign the plea deal. Like they would have to articulate certain things to convince the judge. Like even in Keegan Klein's case, it wasn't just, he pled guilty, but if you like read the transcripts, like there was still information that needed to be provided and confirmed. And like if he would have said, I was there because I know that there were sticks in Abby's hair and that Libby didn't wear sweatpants that day. She was wearing blue jeans. Like there's no way, apart from people that physically saw them, would know that. Do you see what I mean?
Correct.
Well,
Correct.
see, the other thing, the killer would have known Libby had the phone. And that would be another question to ask.
Why didn't he take it? Here's a question. So, Sleuth, you said earlier that he said, did you say that he said he was there till 1:30 and that was it?
No, I was.
So Doolin,
to 3:30.
Yeah.
What I said was the only audio and videotaped interview of Richard Allen was in 2022. Yeah. And in 2022, he told them that he was there from noon to 1:30. This is Doolin's narrative where he hasn't yet found the recording that he believes that he took, where he was asking him questions, but in it he says that he was there between 1:30 and 3:30. But that's not Richard Allen's mouth speaking that. That's Doolin writing down what he remembers. This is him actually speaking. You know, the October 13th interview is him actually speaking.
It doesn't matter, but then it's his owner's mission.
But the problem is, you got those three girls saw him entering at 1:30 on the Freedom Bridge, heading toward Moron Bridge.
Correct. If it's him. See, it was four girls. And in fact, I was thinking about this when Marv said it, because like right when I jumped in, she was saying something about being upset that the defense had put in these men's names, that they should have been redacted in the memorandum. And while I understand certainly where that's coming from, the other part of me, and I wanted to ask you this specifically, Marv, is like when they go to like, let's say they did redact it, or the whole thing was sealed to begin with. When they go to trial, if that's their trial strategy, those men's names are going to be there. They would likely be called as witnesses too. So like,
right.
Like it would have in the meantime, but it wouldn't have prevented their names from being out there as accused of being the ones that did it. You know what I'm saying?
No, but they would have had the opportunity to be a witness and give their side of it, whereas right now they don't.
Right.
You mean to the public?
And they're being called the killers by the defense team.
What I find interesting, and Patrick Westphal, so I'm assuming you guys saw the interview that he did with that sleuth intuition. Well, the first one. Okay, so I believe it was the second one where he was actually on camera. And again, this is just another example. So knowing that he was one of the subjects of that filing, he went ahead and he did this interview. Well, in the filing that was written off of police records, it said that Patrick Westphal's alibi that day was that he was at home with his son. But then he went and did that interview on a public platform that's available. Like, it's likely the defense has seen it, you know what I mean? And said that his son was at school. So now he's put himself in a twist, because 6 years ago he said that he was home with his son. Now his son was at school. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It corroborates it kind of contradicts his
he should have never did that. Like I get that they would want to come forward and speak for themselves. I totally understand that. However, you're talking legal issues that could happen because of it. You know what I mean?
Well, no, one thing so far came out of this case, they found a guy who lied, who killed his grandparents, Anthony.
His uncle.
Yeah.
in Miami over there. I know who you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. That's the only thing that came out of this case, and he finally confessed to killing him.
Yeah, after 30 years or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that, because he wanted the money.
Oh, remember the thanks to Abby and Libby, their case, there is a guy in Delphi that admitted also within like 5 or 10 years after killing his relatives.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Who was it? What was?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There's a guy that has been
because he wanted the inheritance money.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
yeah, and he wanted inheritance, and he spent all the money all those years now. Now he finally got caught because somebody tipped him in as part of the murder.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing came out, the good thing came out of this case.
Yeah.
I definitely shouldn't look at the comments because I like want to respond. No, they're not bothering me, but I've seen like 30 things that keep popping up that like I want to comment on. I'm like, remember that for a minute. Like, remember that. And then I feel like I have a whole list of things to say.
Start taking pictures of these comments and go look back.
like criminality when she said about between and from. But I found something that I noticed between the filings is that some of the filings from the state say between and some of the filings say from, and they go back and forth in each filing, and the wording is different. Huh?
I said that is so bothering me.
Oh, and also there's I saw you had it pulled up just a minute ago when you were highlighting different parts of the affidavit. It's not in the search warrant affidavit. It's in the arrest warrant where they say about that Richard Allen's car, or one that resembled his Ford Focus, was seen on camera at 127. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, actually.
Not a search warrant.
And they say, at Hoosier Harvest Store, and they say that confirms what he had said about the times that he was there. Do you wonder why? Yeah. Do you wonder why? Like, they don't list any other time that he was seen on the Harvest Store camera. So
they don't
you
have
think
to,
that confirms?
Isn't that strange?
But you're trying to establish his presence in an area. Well, if you're trying to establish his presence in an area and the time frame that he was there, why would you not put the time that they were seen coming and going, like you did with Betsy Blair and you did with Kelsey pulling off? Like, because
he could have gone an entire different road.
Yeah. Well, there's two ways to get to that bridge area.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that. So my question is, if he would have passed it going there, like explain to me or show me, like, which direction would he have been coming from to park where he parked and pass the video?
He went from west. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
So pretty much, if he took the old 220, the 25,
right here. I'm going to show you
around that way.
Yeah, if you could show me, that would be way better.
I'm just going to let the video play on the screen while we're talking. Okay, so
I
got cocky. I just did a live on it.
Yeah, that's
thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer, for the $5. She says, great panel.
Is that his house area that we were just looking at?
Yeah, that's where he's living. Yeah,
that's where he left his house. There's Abby's house. This is presuming he came from his home. Okay,
right.
So this just kind of shows you the direction and everything. That's his 2016 Ford Focus. He'll turn and he'll come this direction from the west, heading from the east to the west. So
it's out to the west side.
Yeah. So this
why did he just make a whole circle?
Because he came through the country instead of going.
Yeah, you can't go any other way. That's the issue.
Yeah, and there's two different ways you can go.
Yeah.
And why didn't he just take the highway to bypass, go around the Spring Bridge?
Hang on.
So he came from the right. He came from. He did not come from Delphi. He came from the opposite way.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he would be passing this way, going away from the bridge, technically, to go park at the sea. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what you're looking at right now on the screen.
Okay.
This is when he gets caught on camera.
Yep. So let me just pull up the audio. Past the Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:27 p.m. He continues to what he described as the old Farm Bureau building and parked. Since there is no Farm Bureau building in that area, investigators believe that he parked at the abandoned CPS DCS welfare office in this location. Okay, so that's the location that he parked at. So there's where he would have walked and made his way down there. Now, during that time period, this is what happens. Riley, Brianna, and Anna encountered Richard Allen near a bench that sits east of the Freedom Bridge. The girls were on the trail and were walking towards the Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered Allen, who was walking from the Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. Okay, so as they leave, they're seen by another woman, which is Betsy Blair. We've all, we know who that is. She's a witness. She drives underneath the railroad overpass, which is that right there.
Yeah.
So she came from Delphi. Okay, so if he would have came from Delphi, he would have came from the same direction that she just came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
The old 25.
Old 25. Yeah, that used to be an old highway. So this Hoosier Heartland Highway, that highway right there was not there until 2016.
Yeah.
And so like this is just going to play of what they described in the crime scene photos and stuff like that. And so there's no Farm Bureau building in that specific area, right, Randy? It's the old Big R.
It was in town.
Yeah, it was in town. What was there was just the welfare office in the Big R store. It used to be Anderson's feed store before it became when they went out, Big R went in. But when they had to remove Big R store because of the highway, so that was torn down.
Now, the reason I think that it's
So let me
there is because he wouldn't park that far away. This is a mile away from where the bridge is, right? Or
Right,
2 miles.
pretty much, pretty much, because you would be able to see him. That's why I said you'd be able to see anybody walking on 300 coming from Ron Logan's place, walking that back that way from the cemetery. So you cannot be missed. So and if he was trying to say off the trail,
Go ahead.
Let the woman speak, folks.
We'll try to structure a little bit better. Go ahead, Randy.
No, go ahead.
So, all right. So, if he, like, I had people out there meet sometimes, they agree. If he took the trail, he would have been seen automatically. But after he killed the two girls, he went to the cemetery out on 300, trying to bypass everybody, but no avail. Somebody would have saw him.
Yeah, I'm having I don't know. I heard that.
I have several
too, Randy.
questions.
You were so right. Yeah.
Especially if somebody on the trail, or there's no leaves on the trees, you can see the person walking on 300 or cars coming by back and forth on that road.
I believe that.
So,
you can. They're right
So
there.
then let me ask you. So he would have had to walk. So I'm assuming. Wait. That one that was up. I'm assuming that the one that was just on that. So that road to the right. I guess that's where the cemetery right there on the right.
yeah, where the square look like square long way.
Yes.
Now that's the cemetery,
Like in between the two fields.
Yes.
Okay, so I would assume that he would leave up through there, get onto that. Is that 300?
Yeah, 300. Yeah,
that's 300.
Yeah,
And then
300.
walk on 300, which is where Sarah Carball is said to have seen him walking on 300.
Yeah, correct.
So my question is then, doesn't he have to walk past Hoosier Harvest Store?
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
He does. But
So
they don't have to put it in there. That's the thing, is they don't have to put that in the probable cause. I don't know why they would, but
That's
don't.
pretty damning. So you wouldn't make, if you're creating a story, you wouldn't leave it halfway out in PCA, right?
Yeah.
You're right. And it's,
if he
there's
would
no
have
saying
gone
that
the other
he's
way,
not.
he wouldn't walk past it, right?
Right. If he went back, say if he
The way he
decided
came.
after no, if
But lovely folks, there were no things.
he would have walked back towards cross the creek and just walked home past Anna in Abby's home, back home that way. If he just walked there on foot, he could took the old railroad line, and nobody would have saw him that way if he cut through there.
Sure.
Mm.
But left the car. He would have had to leave the car, which is
Yeah, he would have to
interesting
leave.
because do you remember when they said about the abandoned car? Do you remember when they called it an abandoned car and then they
Yeah.
clarified later
Yeah.
and said that it was the abandoned building? I did wonder about that, but I guess I'm just thinking, like, if you have him walking by on that camera video, I don't know how far the camera is from the road.
It's less, I'll say 15 steps from the road.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
So it's close to the road.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were on camera walking down 300 to leave at like 4 o'clock, I would wonder why they wouldn't use his walk from that video to give people even pleasant versus on that treacherous, ridiculous bridge where his walk is not the same, but that they're telling you to focus on his walk, but that it's not his normal walk.
Well, the bridge, it's different walking.
It just seems like
the
for
bridge,
sure.
It is example if you are walking like the stairs, you know.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, but 300 is flat. Like, if they had a video of him, however many seconds it would take, I would imagine it would be multiple seconds, more than just that, half a millisecond, but like multiple seconds walking that would have given you an idea of this person's actual gait. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if she had a camera in her car recording her driving, then she could have got him walking past her on the 300. So
Oh, you mean blocking him?
yeah.
I see.
Hey, Frosty.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey,
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind. I was actually out doing stuff when I joined, so I just got home. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Mhm.
Cool. What did I miss? What are we talking about?
Right
I
now,
have like many things I'm just throwing out there, just random.
but the one thing it's surprising that is the Kane brother that was riding the bike was caught on the mirror's camera, deer camera somewhere. Why wasn't he caught on that? If he
Yeah.
was-
What?
Yeah, the mirrors has a deer camera at the entrance where the girls are dropped off, and one of the Kane brothers was riding his bike towards the cemetery because their mother and father is buried at the cemetery. He was caught on that deer camp. Now, surprising, why didn't he get caught on that one unless they did catch him? But
the mirror. Okay, hold on. You're saying that he didn't get caught onto the mirrors.
yes,
That we know of, he did not get caught on the
But he was there.
mirrors
Hmm.
deer camera. Yet the McCain brother who was riding his bike did.
yeah.
There is a pathway I don't know if you've ever actually been down. Randy, maybe you have. If you've been down to the crime scene area, do you know the ravine that you go down?
What the mean between the going to the cemetery?
No, I guess it's like right by the cemetery, but it's like closer. Like if you're walking to the crime scene, if you get to the bridge, you take the left at that little path.
Well, how Anthony took it and Greg Hughes took that path, but
Yeah, but there's a by that ravine where you go down. There's a like a 4-wheeler path that goes behind and it spits out like like this little bean.
yeah,
field.
the ghost goes around.
Yeah, so it's possible he went that way.
Well, we don't.
But it's just there's a lot of avenues in that little area there that I always find every time I go out there I always find like a new
he
way.
could have walked up the ravine, but if his shoes and stuff was all wet, it'd be kind of slippering on the leaves trying to get up the hill.
Randy or Frosty, do you remember like Ron Logan has a cousin that also rode like ATVs up there? I remember a video vaguely somewhere that
that's what they're always do because
yeah
his son rode ATV.
There's a bunch of little ATV paths out there.
Yeah,
exactly. So well, I did an interview with David, right? And David said that there was indeed a path up there that led up to ATV tracks.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I got really fascinated with that. Interviewed Eric because of it. And the thing is that David did not want to tell what was a gag order, whatever. He did not want to tell what led up to the bodies being found because no fingerprints were found, no footprints were found. So what was found?
I'm glad you brought that up about the footprints and stuff, because I was literally just sitting here thinking, well, I was thinking two things. I was thinking about a path, like on my property, it could be woods everywhere, but there is like a path that's wore down. It's a very clear path that like the side by side has run that same path over and over and over. So is it Ron Logan's property that you're talking about this path would have been on?
The path I saw was not. It was more on Mears' property. It's like because there's.
But it was private.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, because
okay.
I mean, technically, if you're at the trail and as soon as you go off, if you're walking toward the Monon High Bridge and you take a left, you're on private property technically.
Yeah.
The Mears own that basically.
Well,
immediately.
I did a video on that. I took the north end of the bridge to the cemetery. I did a video on that one.
I'll have to look.
Oh, yeah, you did.
So,
Anthony, are you having internet issues?
Usually it's
Is your house broken into?
He ate
All of a
something.
sudden you were
He got
gone.
It got unplugged. It's okay. It's back.
Okay.
So I took that time.
The other
to sit
thing
back
I was.
and watch.
There you go.
Sophie, go ahead. I'm listening.
The other thing I was thinking when you said about the footprint, I mean, I don't know about that because it's not in there, but I'm thinking about when they're talking about Liggett and Lesenby's depositions, and in their sworn deposition, they mentioned multiple things about what's not there connecting him to the scene. You already know this. One of the things that they said was fingerprints, and somebody had mentioned this the other day. They said that there's none of his fingerprints are connecting him to the crime. Okay, right? But there was a bullet and it was discharged. I would assume they would look at that for fingerprints because like the back, like his thumb would have pressed on the back of the bullet, like the flat end that the pin
Why
hits.
is that? Why would his
Because
thumb
when
be-
you load the gun,
Oh yeah.
like when you load a clip, like you have to like your thumb, and it gets harder the more rounds you get into
he
the clip.
could have had one of those automatic loading clips too to load the bullets in too.
Oh, I must not be fancy enough for that. The only clips I've ever had, I've literally had to shove them in with my finger. Like I get down to the last one and I'm like sweating trying to get it in. But I just wonder if that bullet was tested for fingerprints and it had nothing on it, which would suggest that he was wearing gloves or whatever, or wiped it down.
Well, we know we
wiped it
can
down, which is
see-
weird.
We can see how his hands in the pockets that he doesn't have the gloves on at the time when he's walking on the bridge. But if he had gloves on
When he loaded it.
and he loaded it,
Yeah.
that would be the two different. If he uses gloves, knowing put it in automatically, or have automatic clip loader, that would be the two different things. He still has to use.
Now it would definitely. Okay, now do you automatically do yours, or do you break your thumb to try to get the last one in?
I've always done it by hand.
It's a serious question. Like if you've ever done it, like I must just be a girly girl with my finger. It's
Well,
like my
you-
thumb is just not large
Woman,
enough.
how many fucking people have you shot?
It's because of it.
Not people.
Have you done this movie? The spring. That's why. When you're putting it in there,
It's horrendous.
it is.
Your thumb's probably wider. Your thumb is wider. I mean, if your thumb covers the whole bottom flat part, then it's easy. But if it doesn't, you're like, I mean, I've put imprints on my face. But anyway, my point is, I just wonder, like, if they were to tell me, so I'm pretending I'm a juror. If I hear that you tested that bullet and it came back with no fingerprints on it, is
Then you use-
more.
more chance to use a glove load in.
Correct. And why?
Yeah.
Like, why were you using a glove when you were loading? I mean,
That
versus.
shows
It's cold outside.
But then again,
Well,
this entire
but
Oh, if you're doing it inside the house, why would you want to wear gloves inside the house to load it?
correct.
I don't know. Ask Koberger.
Yeah, good point.
But
But his
that is the
his
thing.
DNA was on that stuff. You know what I mean? Like his DNA
Yeah.
was on that stuff. So like if there's no fingerprint on this metal of the bullet, I
No.
would hope that they'd be able to say to me, we checked it for fingerprints and we found none, versus me saying, did you check it for fingerprints? And you say, oh, no, we didn't. Then I'm like, well, what the hell? There could have been anybody's fingerprints on there. That's obviously the person that loaded the gun. You know what I'm saying?
But let's
Well,
say in the
here's the thing.
early parts of the
They did say that. They did say. So early on in the investigation at the 1 year press conference, me and my friend Michael Catt, Randy was there, asked Kim Riley, what's going on with the investigation? And his response was, this is one of those situations where this individual has apparently never committed a crime before. And our question was, well, how would you say that? He has no DNA in the database. He said, well, I can't comment on that, but
Sure.
it's a possibility he's done something, but we can't find any traces of it. To me, that says fingerprints, because when you go to jail, they don't always take your DNA. They never did. They never used to do that. But the only thing they do take from people is fingerprints.
It depends on the offense.
Yeah, but in
Well,
Indiana,
they take fingerprints for several things.
They never took DNA
Well,
until this.
I would be shocked if there wasn't some type of. I would assume they got a warrant for it. And actually, warrants that have been served in Indiana, just like in Idaho, are public record. So I'm not sure if anybody's tried to request any of that, but
For what?
I would be shocked if for search warrants that have been executed, like on this case. But I would be shocked if there was no search warrant for his DNA once he was arrested.
There is. His buckle swab is sealed in the search warrant.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they got the DNA as soon as he got into jail. They took him DNA.
Okay, so
No.
as of then, they would know if his DNA matched any samples at the scene, because they did say that like there was urine at the scene, there was spit at the scene, like there was a lot of DNA. It's my understanding there was a lot of DNA.
A lot of people were
Urine. No. This is what I'm trying to say. Urine is an extreme hard sample to compare DNA with. Extremely. If you want to do a drug test, go ahead.
Well,
Perfectly fine.
Well, at the time, did you all remember that there was people touching the body to say, hey, to see if Libby or Abby was alive?
No, but what they're saying is, Sloofy, you can agree with me that they said under oath, Liggett and Holman said that there was no physical evidence that could tie Richard to the crime scene. But what is in technicality the crime scene?
Well, the area, where the bodies were found and whatever they taped off. I'm not sure how large the area was.
It was a large area.
I was going to say it would have to include the tree and what. I mean, I don't know how far away that was.
It was bigger than that. We've
No.
got pictures, right, Frosty?
Huh?
We've got pictures of how big the yellow tape was around the scene.
Yeah,
I've got it.
There's photos.
Yeah, it was like a football field.
I have shown
Really?
in my video. It's huge from the creek to almost the edge that goes up the hill.
Yeah.
Then why in the fucking world do they have DNA evidence? Because everybody is explaining
to have a big one.
No, I totally understand that. But why are they making such a fuss about DNA evidence? I spoke to family members, multiple family members, all need to deliver DNA. And they're telling me right now that there's no DNA evidence. I'm not buying it.
No. They're saying there is DNA, and I believe that there's a lot of DNA, especially the larger they got out. People piss in the wood. People shit in the woods, not just bears.
No,
so like,
but then needed to for exclusion, right?
Well, Leslie had an interview with one of the news people and said, yes, we are trying to fast track the DNA.
Yes, because they had DNA. They just didn't know if it related to the actual
case
and murder, or if it was from the searchers. Right.
So I don't think that they're saying there was no DNA at all, but they are saying that Liggett and Lesenby said that there was
Anthony,
none
take
of Richard
the
Allen's.
picture of the one right there, and then find
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
one.
That'll show how big it was.
Yeah.
You'll get
you know
some
what?
idea.
Yep. Give me
No,
just
I
a
get
couple
that.
seconds to save it.
I totally get that, but does that include outside the bridge?
Well, they went out there the bridge 2 or 3 times. They had to close the trail. You go to the bridge 2 or 3 times to look for more evidence.
But can that consider the crime scene?
No, the crime scene is where the girls were found. That's
Exactly.
considered.
Correct.
Is that in technical terms?
And
what Liggett and Tobe said, is that a lie if they have evidence?
Wait,
No.
don't keep saying Liggett and Tobe because I misspoke.
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
like
You
it's
gotta
not.
look. You gotta
it's
look
not-
at the wording of
it-
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Liggett and
Yeah,
Holman.
as-
I'm sorry, it was not Liggett. and
That's
Tobe.
sorry.
But I'll tell you exactly what it says. It says Tony Liggett has testified under oath that there is no DNA linking Richard Allen to the crime scene. Liggett further has testified that he is unaware of anything that links Richard to the crime through his phone, computers, or electronics. Liggett further testified that he is unaware of any evidence that links Richard Allen to any weird religious cult group. Gary Holman has testified to the following: there is no DNA linking Richard Allen to the crime scene. No data extracted from Richard Allen's phone connects him to the murders. No data extracted from Libby's phone connected Richard to the murders. There is no
But
evidence
that
that
is a
Richard
lie.
Allen is or was. Well, wait. There is no evidence that Richard Allen is or was connected to any other suspects in the case. There's no evidence found on social media that connects Richard Allen to the murders. There's no evidence extracted from Richard Allen's computers that connects him to the murders.
You know why?
There's no fingerprint.
He threw
That was the
shit
last
in the
one. No
river.
fingerprint evidence that connects him.
What?
No.
Anthony, that doesn't work though. You
okay,
cannot
hang
just
on,
throw
hang
shit in
on.
the river. There needs to be evidence. It's not like, oh yeah, this dude has this knife, and you just threw it in the river, and ta-da!
All right, hang on a
But
minute. Go
It
ahead.
is
but
all
also-
about technicalities.
Well,
Well,
the one thing is
Well, but also,
That's why he can't be.
the one day.
Hold on.
when
Go
we-
ahead. Go ahead, Randy.
The one day we went to court, the first time he went to court, we were allowed in. And the prosecutor said, we have 2 evidence from the officers who worked this case that we have against Richard Allen. And that's what he said in the courtroom that day.
Well, how was that? Sorry, Randy.
He said the prosecutor said that the 2 detectives on this case found 2 evidence from Richard Allen's house.
So in
Yeah,
court,
there's
the
more.
prosecutor said they found evidence
Yes.
in Richard Allen's
There's
house.
2 items that links from his
Okay,
house.
2 items.
That's correct.
What 2 items is the key?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. After
Coat and a knife.
What, Anthony?
well, could it be the
I'm gonna
jacket
say
and
it's
the?
I'm going to say it's a coat and a knife.
Coat
Well,
and
we
a
know
knife?
it's the
That's my guess.
we know it's the gun and the
Or
bullet.
the gun.
Like
That's it.
Sloopy knows my
Oh, yeah.
answer. Yeah, at least one.
I was
Gun
waiting for
is
that
number
one.
1, yeah.
I
we
was waiting for
forgot
that one.
about the bullet.
Yeah, the bullet.
So yeah, whatever the 2 items is, but they didn't say in the courtroom, but the prosecutor said there's 2 items.
So the
Say it
Go
was
to
a
the,
bullet?
go to the evidence.
And
Go to
what?
that inventory again, and
Yeah.
I think it stands out to me. I mean, there's a few things on there that'll like
The-
make me scratch my head.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
if you go through
Frosty is gonna agree with me.
Yeah, go through that evidence log again, and there's something on there that makes you think, like, what the hell? Like, why would you take that? I mean, it sticks
Right.
out. I mean,
Only
does.
2 hours they did. Only 2 hours in an entire search warrant. They were looking for something
Well,
specific.
What's really interesting about that, and I had asked somebody, a lawyer, about this because I was like, wait a minute. I was reading one of McClelland's filings, and he specifically said like 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. was when the search warrant was executed, but there's footage from
fuck, this is
news stations
voluntarily.
where they were there for, and they were there. They said they were there for 12 hours. They were there for a very long time.
You're right. You're right. I stand corrected because he gave permission to do so.
But I
Okay.
wondered why,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and the probable so like that search warrant, when they executed that search warrant, it was prior to getting the warrant signed by Judge Diener. Same thing with his arrest. Like he was arrested and then the signed warrant came later. The probable cause came later. All of that came later. Both of those things happened without a warrant.
Yeah. Oh,
so let's say, because everybody is talking about these car covers, that came way later. Because Liggett actually turned up way later, while all these unidentified cops were in his home. Now, let's say
so you're saying a second time, a different time.
No, Liggett came with a different search warrant for his car.
Hold on.
I see, because the inventory that we have for the search warrant that has all the gun and the bullets and the knives and the water bottle and the fibers from the carpet that was cut out or whatever, all of that. You're saying it was separate from all of that?
I'm not saying that, but that's what I got out of it.
Oh.
I got you.
My understanding was that his car got seized later, and that's when the buckle swab happened.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Anthony.
This case is so confusing. Okay, so I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like, my head is twisted because I don't know what to think anymore. At one time, I thought I had this case figured out, and then we did a 360, then another 360. Now we're spinning on a merry-go-round at 100 miles an hour backward in slow motion.
Yes.
On rewind.
This is why I'm reading this book each night here online to figure what's in this book and that she put. It'd be interesting.
That's why I just stay, like, the court documents, they shouldn't change. Like, whatever fact comes through on these shouldn't change. So something that was written a year ago, whatever it says shouldn't change. Like, but let me be clear, like, the probable cause affidavit will change because that's not like a sworn, like, well, it's sworn, but the information that's in that is essentially they have to just believe that what they're writing in there is true. Does that make sense? They don't have to provide. So if they say that there's a ping at a certain time, that can get refined later to be more accurate. But they don't have to turn over that ping information to the judge when they're figuring out if it's probable cause or not. It's a very low standard.
Sorry.
Witnesses change things that, all that stuff. So, but it's really difficult to talk about it when you think about the fact that if Tony Liggett did lie, if all of those things were true, that he did lie, like, then where are we? Like, we can, like, imagine we were talking about this with those facts versus the ones that we have in the affidavit. Like, what if we replace those with the ones that the defense gave us? Then what would we be talking about?
Yeah, but any defense team can say that the sheriff lied.
But they
haven't proved it yet.
Well, the problem is they, like, it's not like all of this stuff came from an investigation that they did and they had their investigator go and talk to the witnesses and they got a different story. Like, everything that they used, I'm sure you saw the exhibit list. Everything that they used was all information and police reports and stuff that was sent to them from the prosecutor. So when they're talking about Sarah Carball's interview, they're providing the judge the video of the interview of Sarah Carball and what she's saying. Do you know what I mean? Or the police report written by Tony Liggett. So that's where I find it hard to dispute, in the sense that either the police reports are incorrect. Like, when we're quoting things that people are saying from these police reports, we're not talking about how we're interpreting it. We're saying exactly what they said. Does that make any sense at all?
It makes sense, but at the beginning, I know there's somewhere along the line somebody wasn't telling the truth of the story.
Oh, I agree.
Sure.
Richard Allen.
But who is it?
Richard Allen. Okay, let's ask. Let's start in the line. Someone's not telling the truth somewhere along the line. It's either the cops or Richard Allen. Let's start. Marv, an answer. 15 seconds.
Both.
Okay.
Well, what's
Slippy?
Richard Allen saying? What's he saying, really?
He's saying Otis threatened him and he didn't do it. He was there, but he was dressed like that, but he didn't.
It's more than 50 seconds, Anthony.
But everybody's trying
sorry.
to blame Ron Logan on this. He's dead.
Okay, Sleuthie, what do you think? Who's
I mean, I don't
lying here?
necessarily think it's Ron Logan.
I
Well,
don't believe it's Ron.
It's not Ron.
He's got the times receipt on where he bought the fish. The time he was at the time when the girls were being murdered. So he wasn't home.
Okay, so Frosty, what do you think? Who's lying here, man?
I'm going to say both, but I think Richard Allen in particular, he said he has no idea how his bullet got down there on Logan's property. I say that's bullshit.
I have
He
a
has
question.
amnesia, blackout.
Does it not
Frank?
bother? I guess for Frosty specifically, because you mentioned the bullet, not knowing. I have two questions actually. Number one is, what if you knew that there were multiple other casings laying around, unspent and spent, from other bullets within 10 feet of the girls?
Were there though? I don't know that. I don't think they shot out there very much. I don't think Ron Logan shot in that particular area because you're right by the Weber's house. That might be illegal.
You don't shoot with unspent bullets.
Right. Yeah. Well, that too.
Is it is that considered? I don't know what you would call it, but like, is that in town? Like, is that area?
No.
So-
But it
It's
is
not
like, I mean, I don't think it's illegal to shoot there, but it is close to the Weber's house, and if you
The mirrors let
you run the risk of hitting the house. So
people go out there and hunt the deers, and they know not to shoot where homes are.
Right.
And that's why there's
So, but if they heard gunshots, it wouldn't necessarily, like, people wouldn't be like where you're in town and you hear like a gunshot and you're like,
People
But if you're at the
okay.
bridge, you can hear the gunshot right there.
Oh yeah, I did a video. It was what's that trail called? It was one of the suspension bridges by the CVS there.
Riley Park.
Not Riley Park. There's another one.
With the trailhead.
Trailhead. Yes, Trailhead. I was
Trailhead.
there and I was walking on a trail and I just heard it sounded like freaking automatic firearms just going off, and I was getting off the trail. I'm like, man, it was and I was really close to town too. So I don't think they questioned that.
Well, that's
Probably-
kind of out
probably
on 25 highway 25. I know where you were at. So yeah, that was clear out of town. So they were near the town.
Sloofy,
yes.
do you only leave legal documents, or do you have do you watch crime shows?
Well, I do. I mean, yeah, I watch all of them, but anything that I talk about, I'm going to be able to refer it back to a court document.
What are the
But I
cases?
do watch everybody mostly.
What are the cases that you felt strongly about but was wrong?
Well, I know you're going to say that I was wrong about Brian Kohberger, but A, that thing hasn't played out yet, number one. And number two, if I'm going to advocate for a strong case against Brian Kohberger and a high standard for an investigation to meet to take someone's life, like another American citizen to take their life, if I'm going to do it for Brian Kohberger, I'm going to do it for Richard Allen too. And I'll do it for the next Brian Kohberger and the next Richard Allen. So it's not a matter of being right or wrong. It's about holding the standard higher than it needs to be. We can't just be I personally, and I have had police officers in my family, I'm just simply not okay with a very low standard when we talk about taking someone's freedom even before a trial. You see what I mean? I mean, this man's been in prison for a year. So it's not like it's just been charged.
That bothers me the most.
That's what I love about you, Sophie. You're extremely right, and you stick up for the individuals that can't. So kudos to you, really.
Well, and also we talk about so that case in particular was the first time I ever covered, but followed a murder case. I have been involved and helped with missing people cases where they actually find alive people at the end. I simply just don't talk about that stuff. I could name a name of someone that sticks out in particular, that was the most craziest, most gratifying and fulfilling thing that I have done since I ever joined Twitter. But I don't talk about it because that's my personal experience. I want to keep it for me. It seems braggadocious to just be talking about how I
Oh,
helped
spit it.
bring somebody home. You know,
Out of it.
no, I don't. No, I don't need to. There's people that know me that know exactly what happened, and who I'm talking about. But I have general questions for kind of everybody here. I got off track because we were talking about the bullet, and then you asked me like that random question I didn't get to finish. Does it bother anybody here that I'm going to start off small? Does it bother anybody here that the only time we found out about this bullet that was between the two girls was with Richard Allen's search warrant affidavit, and it was not in Ron Logan's? And Ron Logan was suspected of killing them. So at that point, there was no reason to hide the fact that that bullet was there because he was suspected of killing them and they were trying to find guns. Does it bother
I'll go
anybody?
first on this. I'll go first
Nope,
on
not
this.
at all.
Okay.
I'll
All
take
right, let
this.
Anthony go first.
No, it doesn't bother me because here's why. I believe that they took whatever guns that they found at Ron Logan's house, if they found any guns. I don't even know if they did find any guns at Ron Logan's house because he was a convicted felon. Okay. And if they did, they would have charged him with having that. But they did find a pistol at his house. So I don't think they found any. They did find sharp objects. They were looking for that. The thing is if they found a weapon at Ron Logan's house, they tested that thing just like they did Richard Allen's and found out it didn't have any striation marks and didn't match. So there was no reason to mention that.
Right.
Oh, no.
And
I'm
and
sorry.
like you said-
I should have been more clear.
And why
I meant
say,
the affidavit
why say
to
anything
get-
like that if you're trying to keep that evidence quiet?
Well, I don't think they would have
That's
mentioned
what
it in
I
the
meant.
affidavit anyway. I don't think they would have mentioned it in
Why?
the affidavit if it didn't test. Well, they took my phone, they took my cell phone, and it's not mentioned in any affidavits.
Well,
So
now
I mean,
wait. So was the affidavit written after they had already searched his house?
I think there is an issue with
Yeah, it had to
jurisdiction here because the FBI, folks, the FBI did the crime scene search.
For Logan.
Right.
Well,
No, not only for Logan, just in general.
Yeah.
This case,
Oh yeah.
the FBI did that.
So they would know about a
technically,
bullet found between the girls.
They would, but it's not needed in the PCA.
But
Because a crime scene, they want the most compelling thing for a judge to sign off. Did that
was
FBI
that not the most
special agent?
compelling thing?
No, it's not.
I know when I read it, when I read it for Richard Allen, I was like,
Is that a means of
first I was
kill?
confused because I was like, what is it?
Is that the means of kill? Did those girls get murdered by an unspent bullet?
You broke up, but I think you said, does that mean that the girls got killed by an unspent bullet? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, no, but they're not saying that he killed them. They're saying that he kidnapped him, and that bullet is what ties him to the bridge and to the crime scene. So
That is
that's
not
how
what-
they're going
that
to.
is- that is not what that Ron Logan search warrant is saying, is it?
Ron Logan,
Hold
that
on,
search warrant was because they thought he killed them.
Hold on. Marv, say that again.
It's felony murder.
Means they died in the process of being kidnapped. They can prove that. They can prove that the guy on the bridge kidnapped him. Okay, he pointed a gun.
No. But let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back to the Ron Logan search warrant. Because is it in there? That unspent bullet, because that's the entire argument for now. No, it's not. Did they take guns? Yeah. Why would they take guns if they're looking for sharp objects that knowingly kill the girls? Why would they then?
Well, because they said that the bridge guy. Yeah, they said that the bridge guy is the one that killed them. That's what they maintained, was that the bridge guy was the killer. Even when they put out that second sketch, the bridge guy is their killer. So
we're talking about Ron Logan, right?
No,
we're talking about just bridge guy in general. Like bridge guy in general. They always said that the person that we saw in that video was also the person who got them down the hill, who got them to the crime scene, and who killed them.
You
see what I'm saying?
I agree with all that. I agree with all that. Bridge guy did it all.
Yeah.
Right. So then go ahead.
See, day when I was out there filming from the north end of the bridge to the cemetery on private property, there was an FBI and a county sheriff with them, and they were going door to door, and they went to the Mears property, and they were probably going to Ron Logan's house too at the same time, because he was going door to door out there. And so that may be possible, going back and see who had what in their houses and question them again. But that's what was going on when I was out there. They had all the FBI agents look door to door out there.
Thomas, you walked.
Okay,
you walked
listen. Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
No, hang on. So I'm gonna structure this because I don't have much time here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I'm gonna try to structure this. So we're gonna try to go in sequence. Okay, so we're gonna go in a clockwise order here. So we're gonna start with Marv, and we're gonna try to work our way around. So we'll go Marv, Sleuthie, Thomas, me, Frank, Randy, and we'll just go in that order. And we'll try to keep ourselves to about 30 seconds apiece. Okay, that way we can have somewhat of a structure here. So any answers anybody gives, try to do it in 30 seconds if you can. We started the whole conversation. I know it's hard to stay on one topic when it comes to Delphi. I know it is. Our thing. Here's the thing, everybody. Because we got so much to talk about. It's so there's so much. I have a question for each one of you, and this is based on the new documents and stuff like that on these attorneys and stuff. The Supreme Court, when they make a decision on this case, for example, if they keep Rozzi and Baldwin or get rid of the judge, what do you think the next step is for Richard Allen? What is the next step for him and his defense team after this is all resolved here? Start with Marv.
If they reinstate Rozzi and Baldwin, then he should be able to get a trial within 70 days. They say they're ready. So speedy trial's on. We have a trial in 70 days. If they don't get to keep them, we wait a year and have more BS come out.
Okay, Sleuthie?
I agree with that. I think if they bring the attorneys back, I think Judge Gull will have to go. I don't think that it would be appropriate for her to stay. And I think that we will go to trial. He'll go to trial in 70 days. If they don't, and he keeps his current lawyers, I think we'll obviously wait till at least October. It'll probably go further than that. Or some type of plea deal will happen at some point before then.
Okay. Tom, Frosty?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a plea deal, but if Judge Gull is removed, that's not going to have a big bearing on the case. The judge doesn't really matter when it comes to trial. So they'll still, if they get Baldwin and Rozzi back, they'll still, and she gets removed, they'll get to trial really quick. But if they keep these new guys, I feel bad for the family. Like, it's just going to be more bullshit for another year. And who knows? And Richard Allen's in a new facility, so like he was living in Westville. He made it over a year, and now who knows what kind of people are where you know what I mean, like where he's at now, what risks are there. So I would have rather them kept him in Westville, but that's just me.
Agreed. Okay, so I just got a message from my attorney, and he said that you have 20 days from the date of your arraignment or initial hearing to file for a fast and speedy trial. In the Delphi case, the circumstances appear that they did not file for that. Based on my professional opinion, I'm going to say they do not qualify for a fast and speedy trial within 70 calendar days, which is my
Well, he knows more than I do, so.
Interesting.
So that is what he just said. I don't know. That's just what he says.
Are we going to circle back around?
Yeah, we're going to go down. We're going to go down to Frank. So I think that they're not going to let the defense attorneys back on. I think the judge will stay on. I think the former defense attorneys are gone, but I do think that they will appoint other defense attorneys other than her friends. Go ahead, Frank.
Well, you have to figure if two disgruntled lawyers need to ask other lawyers to write a writ for them, I think they're pretty damn shitty lawyers themselves. Nah, in all honesty, they're getting their asses.
Yeah.
Randy?
Well, if, well, like I said earlier, if the two lawyers do come back, but I doubt it, and the new lawyers that from Fort Wayne, Indiana, will still be on Rich Allen's lawyer, but the judge might just step off because due to her health. And that would make a decision for her to say, hey, all right, with traveling back and forth, I got to stop. I'm not doing this anymore.
Good point.
I do agree with that too. I think there's a reason why she suddenly brought up a month later that she was sick the month before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Marv,
What?
pull us up some questions.
Oh, you want me to think of questions?
Quit eating ice and chance asking questions, Marv. Okay, Marv's up there chewing on ice. You know,
Tone up a loud noise. House.
Why don't you guys think that the lawyers should be reinstated?
Why
okay,
don't we think?
Since you asked, Frank, start with Randy.
There you go.
Well, due to what I've seen in the courtrooms, how they treat Richard Allen in the jail, and how they messed up on his making him a threat in these prisons where he was at in Westville, and they're the ones who are putting him in danger, and those two should not be back on this case. Whatever they say now, if they come back, they could put him more in danger in the new prison down there.
Okay. Marv?
I've said it over and over again. In order for him, because this becomes such a circus, in order for him to get a fair, impartial trial, everybody's got to go. If you let one stay and you make one go, you still got the animosity. Plus, you've got her favorites that she picked, meaning Judge Gull. And I don't see that working at all. You know, so if they stay, you've got a better chance of an appeal.
Okay. Sleuth?
I don't know if I can answer it. The question was why we think they should be removed. I don't think they should. I mean, I think they should be reinstated. I don't think that.
It's not the phrasing I use, but okay.
What was the question? I mean, what was it?
Why would you think the lawyers should not be reinstated?
I wouldn't, because I
That's
do
not-
think they should be reinstated.
You know they leaked discovery, right? So there's your answer.
Well, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute, because this is the problem. And regardless of what the actual facts are about the leak, the fact that she did not have an evidentiary hearing where
It's not an excuse.
evidence, it is an excuse, because until we know that and we know the facts of what was found.
Well, you have the transcript for that. They admitted to it.
Well, wait. Hold on. Let me ask you a question, Sleuthy. What do you mean found?
Like what the
Evidentiary
investigation found.
Oh, so an evidentiary
what-
hearing is, do you know what that is?
Well,
What do
yeah.
you think
Like,
that is?
so when she said that she made findings, if you notice in that transcript, she specifically said that she had no idea what Nicholas McClellan was getting ready to present. She knew nothing of the evidence of the investigation or the outcome of it, or what his exhibits were, just that he had them and that he had witnesses there. So to have made findings on that on that situation specifically, not having heard anything that he had prepared, and we didn't hear anything that he had prepared, it's difficult to say what is true and what's not. Mitch Westerman wrote in his thing that he, took photos of photos or whatever, and that was the end of it. Now he's arrested, which is kind of crazy.
We're not talking about Mitch Westerman. We're talking
No, hold
about
on.
his counsel.
Hold on.
I mean,
hold on.
but now, are you trying to say that the defense directly
I'm
leaked
not
the
insinuating
photos?
that. No, I'm saying about their mistakes. I'm not insinuating any conspiracies here.
I mean, even if they-
Sophie, who wanted the in chamber hearing?
Wait, say that one more time.
Who wanted the in
Rosie.
chamber hearing?
Rosie did.
Why?
Rosie requested it.
How many mistakes
To
can
know
you
what
count
they were
within
gonna be.
that in chamber hearing?
What was it?
How many mistakes can you count in the in chamber hearing?
Well, what she's considering a mistake is not a mistake to me. For instance, that press release is not a mistake to me. That was considered a mistake to her. The filing.
It is a mistake if she asks a gag order.
There was a gag order, so
Well,
they shouldn't have spoke on it.
There wasn't.
Do you feel like,
there wasn't
as a
when
public entitled,
there wasn't
we-
what? No, but
No, hold on.
he is able.
What do you mean there wasn't?
The
There
gag
wasn't a gag-
order. They put out that press release, and then she turned around and issued the gag order, and she even clarified it in the transcripts and in the filing that them releasing that press release prompted her to sign an order.
Pretty sure it was before.
Gagging everyone.
She also said this, that they said things in those documents that wasn't even true.
Fair enough. That was later on.
They're lying. They're lying to us, guys. They're lying. The defense team is not going to say anything that implicates Richard Allen at all. They're not going to say, well, he did it, but this. They're just saying, they're lying to us. Everything that they say is a crock of shit.
They did come right out and say that he did make incriminating statements on these calls or whatever. So,
Yeah,
is that what they're lying about? Because that can be backed up. That's not a lie. That's evidence.
They said that in that courtroom
No.
on June 15th. They said in that courtroom on
Right.
June 15th.
Yeah, they're lying.
that he
didn't
made
get threatened by
incriminating
Odin's
statements.
guards. He didn't get threatened by Odin's guards. He didn't know anything about Odinism, but he's getting threatened.
But what are
by,
you?
oh,
but what
no.
are you? Well, so when you read the memo, it says they throw that out there as a possibility of what happened, that he was threatened by them, that he had to, confess to his wife, whatever, they were going to kill his family. But
is that what
they
he
then go
said,
on to
or
say-
is that what his
they then-
counsel says?
they
Okay,
then go on to
that's-
say that instead he would just repeatedly utter over and over again, is my wife alive? Is my family alive? Is my wife okay? Is my family okay? And they were saying, they actually did in a footnote say, he has never said this. He did not say that they have threatened him, but they were offering up a example of why he would possibly be muttering over and over again, is my wife okay, when they go to visit him. Just like when they talk about Abby and the lack of blood, and they say,
Horns, yeah.
well, no, and they talk about the lack of blood, and they say, well, we don't know that this is what happened, but in particular, in certain rituals, they save blood for other rituals. That could be a reason why. Like, they were offering an explanation as to why there'd be a lack of her blood at the crime scene.
Are those
same thing
experts
with this-
talking? Is this the counsel talking or experts talking?
No,
Or
hold on.
did they just wanted an explanation for that?
Here's the thing. They
Marv is
are-
talking. but
Marv is
she's
muted.
Marv, you're muted.
Thank God she talks with her hands, because otherwise I would have never
hang on, guys. What he asked was a really good thing. What he said was a really good thing, and I think that that's true. That dude, he did not say shit. Everybody keeps saying Richard Allen said the Godiness are threatening. Blah, blah, blah. No, like she just said. I'm glad you said that. Thank you. It said in the footnote he never said shit like that. He didn't say anything like that.
His lawyers
They're
are
just
making
using
that
this
up.
as a defense. The lawyers are making this up. That's a lie, ladies and gentlemen. If I come out and say, you know what, dude, Frank told me this, and this, okay, and got all sorts of people pissed off at Frank, right? And then I turned around and says, well, but I wrote it down on a Facebook post in the description, way down at the very bottom. Actually, he didn't say shit like that. I just made it up.
Well, and
Who's
like
lying
he
here?
said,
I would be a liar.
it's the defense's job to cast doubt.
The one
To
thing,
cast doubt, but to write a fucking memorandum that is not underlined by experts is a totally different thing.
well, the one thing is,
Well, they were
lying.
relying on law enforcement. That's their. I mean, are they
No,
considered
that is not their
Wait, wait, wait.
job. They need to counter it.
Hold on, guys. One at a time, everybody. I'm going to mute everybody. Hang on. One at a time. Randy, go ahead.
Okay, the one time in court, okay, you remember the picture they're saying, look at Richard Allen's clothes he's wearing. It's
Yes.
dirty and
Where he's
stuff.
in a chair and he's like,
In his
yeah.
chair. But the problem is when the guy who running that prison, he was coming from his recess, and they were going to take him to his jail cell, but he said no. He wore that straight to that room, and the lawyers took that picture. He had time to change his clothes, but Richard Allen did not want to change those clothes because it was soil. And
So my question is,
go
Hold
ahead.
on. Go ahead, Randy. Go ahead, Randy. Finish your sentence.
So, okay. So then technically they lied to the press, the people. So pretty much these two lawyers are making the stories up for Richard Allen and make him write these fake letters to say, hey, you're being punished and stuff. Tell this to the court. So pretty much the lawyers of Richard Allen is the ones who are making these stories up to look like he's being abused in there.
Yeah, I agree. Frosty, we don't hear much from you, man.
Yeah,
Give
sorry, I
us
had
something.
internet issues.
I know,
yeah,
I've seen that.
Yeah, no, I'm good now. But yeah, man, I mean, the guy started eating the documents when his defense team presented all the discovery.
Right. And wait, are you cut out? Did you cut out?
yeah, I didn't know if that was him or me.
No,
Wait,
it's him. He cut out again.
Oh,
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yes.
cut out. Okay, you
Oh,
said
yeah, yeah. I was
yeah,
saying
go
he was eating this documents. Like he was literally. That's just not normal.
Be glad Keegan Klein is not there, otherwise you would be on the paper diet.
Keegan Klein.
And my biggest thing, my another thing is like if you're gonna say like I understand he's innocent until proven guilty, but I need actual tangible things to go off of other than law enforcement lies or so and so.
well, my whole thing is, what if that never comes? Like, it's not the defensive even when they go to trial, like it isn't their. The system's not set up in the sense that they're going to have to show evidence and facts that he's innocent. It doesn't work that way. They don't have to prove anything. They don't even have to speak. I mean,
Right.
they do, and I mean, they technically don't have to, but it sets up for if they don't say anything, that'll set them up for appeal. But like, they don't have to present any evidence that shows that he's innocent. So that's where I get this whole idea of if I think that someone is guilty in my head, it's going to be more difficult for me to be open to the idea that they're not, because what amount of evidence am I going to be able to see that's going to be able to show me that? Okay, here's a prime example. My neighbor lives down the hill from me, not too far,
I'm tipping you in now.
but well, that's what I'm saying. Like, not too far from me, and there are other people around, but like, I'm closest. God forbid if something happened there and the police came to talk to me and my alibi is that I was here asleep with my 5-year-old. That's not going to cut it, because my 5-year-old isn't going to be able to confirm that I was here.
Yep, prove it.
So
And
what if they
guess
so
what?
if they
You can be
arrest me? Correct. That's what I'm saying. So I would appreciate everybody not saying, oh, well, of course she said she was like at home, but like she lives right there and she does have weapons in the house, and he was, whatever, shot with a bow and arrow. Like everybody's got them. But
What about
if I had
circumstantial
to
evidence?
prove that I didn't do it, that'd be very difficult. Like if I had to prove that I didn't and I'm right here. Do you know what I mean? Especially if like I'm on the phone talking, you know what I mean?
Precisely.
I did not mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry.
When I got questioned, they asked me, they says, hey man, so since where were you at on that day? And my response was, I don't know. You know what he said? He looked at me and he goes, dude, I'm gonna need something more than that. 2 girls got killed. I'm gonna need you to think here. And I'm like, hold on, man, let me think about this. And I really thought about it, because he wasn't letting up. It was an FBI and a state trooper, and they weren't going to let up on that. They were like, all right, dude, listen, we need something solid. We need some
Right.
proof
And what do you do?
of where you were. And I'm like, well, I don't know, man. I don't know what I was doing. That's like so many days ago. Like, I don't know. You know, like, let me think. I mean, it could have been here, here, here. And then I was really thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, I know where I was. I was here.
And if you give the wrong thing, that's not good.
Then
Like,
you become suspicious. You know, then it's
Right,
like, well, why would
right.
you know about that? You know, and that's what happened to Ron Logan. Here's my last question. I have to go soon. Marv and you guys can take it over, but I have to go soon.
Well, I'm gonna have to go read the book here.
Okay. All right, let's give us 5 more minutes on here at least, everybody. And then when Marv gets back, you guys can continue on, or Randy, if anybody needs to go ahead. Here's a question for you guys, and I'm curious about this one. Continue on, or Randy, if anybody needs to go ahead. Are we going to see any?
I gotta pick up my son.
Okay. Do we got 2 minutes? Okay, let's answer one more question. Are there going to be more arrests in the Delphi case? Yes or no? Go, Frank.
No.
No, I haven't seen that in this whole entire year, so no.
Marv?
I hope so.
Floaty?
I agree. I hope so, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Frosty?
I think one more.
Okay, and I think no more. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's pretty diverse.
Yeah, that's
there.
good.
Wait, before we end, everybody that said no, they don't think so. Do you not think so? Like me, because I don't think that they're going to actually go do that, or because you don't think anybody else was involved?
Right now, so far, this whole entire year, they would have found somebody else by now.
Well, what if they're waiting for that one piece of evidence?
We've been waiting on
Remember,
that
they
one
read-
evidence for 8 years out of 7 years.
Hey,
The one puzzle piece.
We haven't found.
I tell you what, dude.
They
I'm
did
gonna
start
send Doug Carter a
re-interviewing in
puzzle
August.
piece of-
Remember, they started re-interviewing, and I'm curious why they took Patrick Westfall's DNA again for whatever reason. I mean, if he's telling the truth, who knows? Like I said, I think he should have not done that at all, but he did. The polygraph and the DNA and stuff, and then bringing in his kid and stuff. Why do you? Well, I don't want to get us into a whole nother conversation. I'm just saying they re-interviewed people.
Yeah, they have. Okay. I just think that there's not going to be any more arrests, because I think that they were hopeful that there was a link between the Klein and that whole CSAM stuff and him. I think that they were hoping for that, and they were kind of wishing that comes along, but I don't think that they've been able to link anything. And I think that if Richard Allen's smart, and I do think he's a very smart man, I think that he intentionally made sure that he was not connected to any of these people and any of these devices, because he had 5 years to get rid of the shit. That's my opinion.
Do you think he's smart? Reading that letter
do
he
think he's
wrote about
smart.
not knowing it was going to be expensive to get a lawyer, that kind of threw me a little bit. I was like, wait, what?
Well, I don't think he
Yeah.
was ready to be caught, because he thought, he's freaking clear the last 5 years.
That sketch probably made him think he was all right. He's like, you know what? dude,
Yeah.
no clue.
You know, the fact of the matter is,
That's
he
a
just
whole other
implemented himself in the case after that video got out, and he was clear in the know. You know, so he was all fine. It was like no biggie.
Okay.
So
need
how
to
do we
have a
know? How do we know that it
We
was
need to have
after
a
the
part
video?
2 on this.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
I have
down.
several more questions.
You know what? Can we
Yeah.
schedule for tomorrow, everybody?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Depends what day is it?
I don't know.
It's Tuesday?
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's
I
Wednesday.
gotta
For
work
me,
tomorrow.
for me, it's already Wednesday. So
Okay. Hold on. How about guys? How about we all meet up on Thursday? Can we do Thursday?
I have Sloofy and y'all on every single day, especially Sloofy, because
I work the next 4 days.
definitely-
I'm off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So.
Tom,
man.
But I
I
might-
hate
you guys
making
go
plans.
ahead.
I usually just
He
jump in.
works 4-day weekend. That's the problem. He works the 4-day weekend.
Thomas, just
I
tell him
work
that you have a podcast.
I know. I wish I could. One day.
One day, man.
One day
Okay.
it'll be. No, probably not. But
straight to the moon.
Everyone here has a channel, right?
Yes, and Carly's
Okay.
been sending out everybody's links.
Okay. All right,
Well,
guys, plug your channel. plug your channels real quick. Well, Sleuthie, you're like a Twitter goddess here.
I
Like,
neglect mine.
I
just pop on whenever. I couldn't imagine being audacious and asking for memberships and stuff. I post like every once in a blue moon whenever I can't explain myself properly with character limits.
Okay. All right, guys. So this is right now we're streaming on True Crime Investigates and True Crime with Marv, Sleuth the Goosey, Frosty, Tom's Frost, Frank, Art of Deduction, Randy Gravitt. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I didn't expect this. Yeah, we definitely have to have a
discussion though.
We're gonna set up a part 2. I'll set it up tonight. It'll be set for Thursday around the same time. You guys are welcome to join us.
What's Jimmy Abbott asking?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll cover all that in part 2. If you guys got any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below on either Marv or my channel, because we got to roll out, everybody. We've been on here for 3 hours. 3 hours, everybody, and we got
read this book too tonight too. So
I'll be there
so much, guys.
all right,
Night, guys.
All right, bye.
Thank you for joining. All right. Wow.
Wow.
3
hours. And we were only going to be on an hour.
I know. I'm like,
there's my
away.
kid.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay. Marv's got to go get her kid, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to roll out. I got to go do some work. So thank you for joining us here today. Carly's going to be dropping some links in here. That's Randy Gravitt's channel, Frosty's channel, Frank's channel. That's Art of Deduction, Sleuth the Goosey. And I guess I'm the only one that doesn't get plugged here. That's because you guys are on my channel. She doesn't like me.
Kid is like, I'm done. Come get me. Yes.
Say, hold on, man. We got 3 more hours of Delphi talk.
This was great. Great discussion. Love having the big panel on here. Got a little chaotic with people talking over each other, but we'll try to do better on that next time. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. We like your comments. Like you said, like Anthony said, if you have questions, put them in the comments under his video, my video, whatever, and we'll get to them on part 2.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get to them on part 2, ladies and gentlemen. So if you guys, also, if you guys hadn't heard about something, I wanted to show it to you guys on our way out of here. I'll play it as an outro. I'll play 2 videos as an outro, and they're both 2 minutes long. Okay. So these will be our outros for you guys, but it's an update on Westerman, and it's also an update on a Fortville man. So this will kind of be our outro for you, and it'll give you guys an update on that. Okay. So it's information I think you guys need to know. This is awesome, Marv. Thank you. And let me see. Have a good night. And how do we what else do we say here, Marv? How do we do it? We keep it what?
Southern style. Actually, I should say keep it Midwest style.
keep it Midwest style. There you go. Okay, so shit, my thing's being slow. I can't give me just a second. Sorry. I gotta play it right here. Sorry, everybody. Give me just a second. I'm gonna drop Westerman's first, and then I'll drop the other one in here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, keep it Midwestern style, Southern style, whatever you guys want to do. Peace out, everybody.
Night.
A Westville man faces charges in Johnson County for allegedly leaking crime scene photos related to the Delphi murders case. Mitchell Thomas Westerman, a 41-year-old, was charged in Johnson County Superior Court 3 with conversion, a Class A misdemeanor. Bartholomew County Prosecutor Lindsay Holden Kay will prosecute the case in Johnson County. Westerman used to work for Andrew Baldwin, a public defender previously assigned to Delphi suspect Richard Allen, who is charged with murdering 2 teenage girls in Delphi, Indiana in 2017. Fifth, sensitive crime scene photos were allegedly given to various true crime podcasters and YouTubers. Attorney Brad Rosie and Andrew Baldwin were removed as counsel from the case by Special Judge Frances Gull after the evidence leak. At least that's what they claim. However, court documents from an in-chambers hearing show that Baldwin and Rosie both willingly withdrew themselves from the case to avoid being publicly scrutinized for being grossly negligent. Rosie and Baldwin have since filed briefs with the Indiana Supreme Court asking for Gull to be removed from the case and for them to be reinstated. It now lies within the Indiana Supreme Court to make a decision on the attorneys and the judge. Westerman was arrested on November 27, 2023 and posted bond in the amount of $250 cash, which will be reimbursed at the final disposition of this case, minus any court fees or cost that may be incurred. An initial hearing for Westerman was set on December 7, 2023, but was canceled after his attorneys filed a flurry of motions. Among these motions, attorneys moved to waive the initial hearing, filed a request for discovery, and Evidence Rule 404B disclosure. The attorneys also filed a motion requesting a jury trial for Westerman. On November 29, 2023, a media agency filed a request to have cameras in the courtroom. That motion was denied on December 5th by Judge Douglas Cummins. The judge granted the waiver of initial hearing and set this cause for a pretrial hearing on January 18, 2024 at 9 o'clock in the morning, at which time Westerman is ordered to appear. True Crime Investigates has submitted a request with the court, moving the court to allow video, audio, and or still photography or social media updates during the hearing. At this time, the court has not ruled on our motion. And as if this case can't get any more bizarre, Westerman hired an attorney by the name of Michael J. Kyle, who in a stunning coincidence also worked for Andrew Baldwin, which is now revealed in this document. Could this be a conflict of interest between the parties? Is Westerman taking the fall for Baldwin acting grossly negligent? Is this a ruse to distract those following the Delphi murders? These are all things that we have discovered over the past week, and we will continue to bring you updates as they become available. Anthony Greeno, reporting live, True Crime Investigate. A 24-year-old Fortville, Indiana man was charged after police found over 25 files of child pornography in his possession. Investigators said an investigation was opened after Indiana State Police detectives received 2 tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children October 7, 2022. A Snapchat user had uploaded child porn material to the platform, according to a company records custodian. The files submitted for review showed juvenile children performing sex acts with both adult men and women present. Court documents explain the initial files found led to a search warrant granted for the home of a man who reportedly uploaded the files. Through IP tracking information and Google Analytics, police could track down the subscriber of the email account to 24-year-old Brandon Douglas Nelson. On March 15, 2023, detectives served the search warrant at Nelson's apartment in Fortville. Nelson was also advised of his Miranda rights and agreed to an interview with police. Nelson admitted to creating the Gmail account associated with the child porn uploads when he was 12 or 13 years old for gaming purposes. He added that he had viewed child porn a handful of times through the Tumblr application. Nelson admitted that he had hidden applications on his phone, but no hidden files. According to the probable cause, police also found child porn material on an SD card seized from Nelson's home, and when asked if he had downloaded the images, he said, probably. A later report released in April showed child porn was found on 3 separate devices seized from Nelson's home. Investigators said additionally 3 devices found evidence that pornographic images and videos were saved, but had since been deleted. The probable cause then listed over 25 files located across Nelson's device and descriptions of the sexual acts depicted. Authorities added thousands of more images and videos recovered from the hard drive in Nelson's possession. Nelson was charged with 12 counts of child porn possession with an aggravating factor, level 5 felony, and 13 counts of possession of child porn, a level 6 felony. A jury trial was scheduled for April 16, 2024. And isn't it ironic that he is charged with something very similar to what this man, Keegan Anthony Klein, was charged with in 2004? But all of these stunning coincidences, all of the weird people involved, there's only one question to ask. What the hell is going on in Indiana?